And we are recording twice. All right. As always, I am Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition to tell our story, and the awesome folks that are joining me on this Sunday afternoon are here to help me write another chapter. Let's go ahead and do introductions. Let's start with Colby.
My name is Kobe, and I will be playing Kiltusk, and he is a barbarian ranger and a native on the islands we're currently at.
Okay, thank you, Colby. Let's go ahead and go Corey.
What is this, like ABC order? Gosh, actually,
I
no,
don't
we're way
know.
out of
There's
it.
no rhyme or reason, sir.
Now
I
that
just go
think
around
about
it.
Well, anyways, my name is Corey. I will be playing Darius, the human-ish bard of swords and sorts, who is currently. Is it? Well, we'll go into that. If I feel like, by the way he described it, it's in a out of body experience, but we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's interesting right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange
And
shit is going on.
yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll find out soon how fucked I just got myself in.
Yes. We're hoping we can bring you back. Having said that, Danny, and if you could go like this a little bit, and we're good. There it is. There he is. All right, go ahead, buddy.
I'll be playing Bast. At this point, he is trying to jumpstart a automaton that we call a Seraphim that has Merc inside of it, and also Silouan.
Got the
He has
jumper
no
cape.
engineering skills, so he's just giving it a shot.
I'm curious to see how this goes and how this translates into, you banging on the door. Bella, go ahead.
I am Bella. I am playing Silouan, the Maiden of Song Bard and Avian Sky Lancer, who is currently in a hellscape cursing out a very big dude.
That's fair. He is dude-ish. There is no mistaking there are male qualities to this thing that is being terrible. And it's awesome. So, moving along, last but certainly not least, is Jeremy Keaton.
I'll be playing the part of Merc, who is in that same hellscape and currently has a score to settle with said dude that Silouan is currently cussing out.
Awesome. I just sneezed and like my ears popped. It was good stuff. Oh my goodness gracious. Awesome. Yes, you are in a shared hell with Silouan currently. So, quick recap to kind of get us and everyone else acclimated as to everything that's happened. So, interestingly enough, when we were reached out to by these Ozomen, which is our take on this gorilla-like hybrid creature from D&D 5th edition, these four-armed tribal girl-looking creatures, I thought it'd be a great addition to this realm. And they reached out to us wanting to have a seance, some kind of spiritual-like kind of meeting with us. Several people that were there at the hunting lodge stepped outside to join into this, and we were surprised to find that they have a shaman of sorts that is intelligent enough, or spiritual enough, we're not even really sure yet, to have been able to reach out to us and commune using the scion. Was it Karsu? That was her name? As a conduit. Being able to speak through her, as if possessing her and speaking through her. Now, as this spectral-like bonfire emerged out in front of the hunting lodge, Braxel was there. Mercy, which is the cleric Atlati warrior, had not made her way out there yet. They're still pretty sore. I know in D&D we heal hit points and we say, hey, let's move on, but I like to role play out major injuries quite a bit more than that. Corey's character Darius hears word that they want to put us through some kind of trial to prove our worth to them, to make sure that we are worthy of their strength and their aid if we're going to take on the water temple of Yeota. And he's like, no, we need to act and do this differently. And when Darius steps forward, I think it was then Rursi, the cleric, walked up to you, Darius, and laid her hand on you and guided you into the circle, which was surprising to you and me both, really. And when you did, you walk through, and it was interesting. I kind of had a map set up, and you were able to see the other side of this, what it looked like to them. You know, you saw this shaman-like Ozoman sitting over there with whited over eyes and powered with this psychic energy, surrounded by guardians. And when you look back, you see shadowy versions of the company that you are with currently. You could see Celine over there. You could see Rursi. You could see Kiltusk. And Baraxel was sitting cross-legged down beside you as you were having this conversation, which was really interesting. And then we didn't really have a lot of dialect there. I came up with this voice I was using for the leader of this group. We still don't know any names. None of that kind of lingo has been passed back or forth yet. And on the other flip side of things, we have Silouan that is trying to aid and kick the shit out of as many of these lich-like knights that ride these nightmares. They're not exactly like death knights. They're like hollowed out, dried up, corrupt mortals that are inside of this evil armor riding on nightmares, and she's in this hellscape with Merc, and they're doing battle to save the soul of an Inheriar, which has the possibility of being outright destroyed and wiped from existence by a demon lord that is down in this realm with them. I don't care whichever one we do first. Corey has mentioned he has laundry because we're real people. So if he wants to take a moment and do that, we can go ahead and jump into that battle that's going on in some underworld type hellish realm. And just to keep everyone being involved and interested, Danny and Colby have agreed to roll some dice for the bad guys, so they can actually have some real competition rather than just, me just slamming shit around. So we'll have a little bit of fun, even if they're not directly in the scene. Okay?
Just to throw it out there, if I know what some of their feats are, I'm willing to make the thing right to.
Why don't you just be creative? And when it comes up to your turn, I'll tell you the numbers you have and if you can pull it off or not. We'll just go that route. And I think that'll be fun. As Bella's like, I don't know about this shit, everybody.
As I look on in fear.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Your battle buddy, Jeremy, down there, better be ready. So, with that, let's go ahead and bring up the map that will explain where Merc and Silouan were. Does that sound good? Okay, so let's do this. Just a minute. And now let's do this. And there we are. Here's your transition. So you guys can make that your central screen if you would like to. I'll get a little bit of music rocking and rolling, and then we'll be ready to go. Just 1 second. Ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Let's make sure we're doing this right. Let's go battle music. Okay, and we'll make sure I got my sound levels right. Bella, do you already have your character sheet and everything pulled up? Okay, awesome. Make sure I'm playing this at a low quality. I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay. Is that volume enough where it adds an element without slamming over top of everybody talking? Can you guys hear the music? And that's good. It's not distracting you at all? Alright, good deal. Alright, so let me make sure I'm doing my settings correct. Auto, that's perfect. Okay. Alright, so here we are. Now because we're going to get into this and kind of really get into the meat of this now, I'm going to start taking initiative counts and things like that, because we were doing a back and forth kind of scenario, but now that there are multiple facets to it, we're going to do some initiative rolls and really get into this, okay? So, paper and pencil, because we're going retro here, people. Oh yeah, okay. So we got Merc, we got Silwyn, we got Demon Lord, we have and he is number, let me make sure I'm getting my numbers right. That is 1. Okay, then we have 3. And then we have one more here real quick. 4. Okay. And then we have our Inheriar, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Villain Doll. Okay. All right, so go ahead and roll for initiative. You'll do your 1d20 plus your proficiency bonus, plus the modifier of what you're choosing on doing on your turn. So, for instance, Silwyn, if you were attacking and things on their turn, that was your plan, then you would roll another 4, whatever your ability score modifier is, bonus to that. If you were planning on casting a spell, you would add your charisma modifier to this turn. That's how we do our initiative. It's your 1d20 proficiency plus something that ties to the action you plan on taking. Okay, so roll those numbers and tell me what you get, please. Danny, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6. Colby, you do the same. Let me know what you get.
So that is a 14 plus 4, and then since I'm going to be attacking, is that another plus 4?
Yes, ma'am, that's 22. That is quality. I like it. Good number.
17 total.
17. Okay. Colby, what'd you get, boss?
7.
Danny, you and Colby roll those again. Jeremy, what did Merc get?
Oh,
14.
14.
and
Okay,
with a
Danny.
6 with a solid 6 on the die on the D6, I managed to get a whopping 11.
11. Nice. Colby, what was your other total?
15.
15. Okay. Ooh, shit. That's good news. That's real good news. Okay, one more.
Good news for you or good news for us?
It's actually good news for you guys. I was rolling for the Inheriar there. You know, personal note, when you have to spell words constantly that are of a different language, Inheriar, I couldn't remember how to do it. And then when I got past the fact that it begins with an E, it's literally spelled like in her jar. Which makes sense because Valkyrie take the soul and they keep it with them and they use it when they can. So it's actually in her jar.
It's
Which
pronounced Einer jar.
Is that how it's pronounced? I didn't know that because I've heard it said so many different ways in video games and just in videos and shit on it. So I was like, I can remember in her jar. That's not a problem. All right. Let's see here. Make sure all this is working out okay. Okay, so top of the turn is going to be one of these Inheriar over here. So let's go ahead and see which one I want it to be. 4, 1, and 3. It's going to be number 4. 1 and 3. We will mark you off as going first. Okay, so with this, Daniel McGuffey, you have an Harrier here, and looking at the battlefield, I believe they are going to rally to help Velendal because she was just struck by this bastard. I don't know if you all remember that or not, but as it ran underneath of her as she was flying up above the battlefield, it took its polearm and was able to actually hit her, making it lose concentration on Silouan, and those protecting wings that were encompassing your character dissipated. This thing was actually able to break its concentration, which is a bucket of shit. So that seems to be a major threat. So Danny, I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d10. And for this particular character, she has the soul. She is going to try to do a breath weapon attack. So let me go ahead and go to that one real quick. As she moves over, she actually opens up her own mouth, and this helmet that she has looks like the helmet of make a bone of like some kind of ancient dragon of some kind, like it's been fashioned to look that way. And she seems to be some kind of primitive like sorcerer. And as she moves over, let's see, 5, 10, 15. It's going to be a 5, 10, 15. Let's move up this much more. She's going to do a breath weapon cone. I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d10 and tell me what the DC is for this. For this guy to be able to get out of the way of this.
That would be a 16 plus 5, so 21.
21. Awesome. Colby, be the bad guy. Roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6 and see if you're able to get out of the way of that DC.
Seven.
Was not. So this Lich Knight type creature will take full damage from this as this spray comes out in a triangular 15-foot cone and lands on top of her. I'm going to say that
Was either one of those? Sorry, was either one of those a natural one by any chance, Colby? Like the 20?
No. It was like a 4 and a 3.
Nice.
Strangely enough, as I roll to see what kind of energy this is going to be Radiant Flame. So as this comes out, you're going to see this triangular arc of Radiant Flame shoot out from the creature's mouth. Danny, I need you to roll me 4d10 plus 4.
Hey, Brian, does the big guy go before or after me?
I'll tell you here just in this turn.
It's 25.
25 total points of damage plus half because of that, which was 21, right? Which because you added the 4 at the end of it.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So as radiant flames wash over this creature, I'm going to give it the effect of guiding bolt. The next attack that hits this thing will have advantage. So keep that in mind for me, okay, Danny? As it took the full blunt of it, that one's going to stay there. The next person to go is going to be Silouan. And without discussing too much, Merc, just 1 minute, I'll let you know, buddy. What's your dexterity?
Me?
No, it's Jeremy, because it rolled the same as him overall. So I need to see who goes first here. What it's
+3 modifier, 17.
okay. With him being stationary back there, he's gonna go right after you. Right after you. Okay? Now, you know, sometimes you don't know that shit until it happens, but in this moment I don't mind sharing. Okay, so the next person to go is Silouan. You are up. I will move this so you can see what the hell you're actually doing. So if you recall, you used one of those bolting lance moves, which was awesome, and Jeremy, be on deck to help her here, okay? You bolted through here. This one here, number 3, is weakened quite a bit. Jeremy has hit this one and dispatched this one over here on the side, or Merc has just moments ago. And you thought you were going to be able to go straight through this and get into this demon-like creature over here. But this shell that it has, trapping this Inheriar within it, stops you dead in your tracks as you hit hard. This would be the beginning of your turn. Remember I said you could actually see the phantasmal fingers of the Inheriar pushing up against the other side of this. They look weak, as if the life is being drained out of them. They are softly looking at you and saying words. You can sense that it's a plea for help to some degree. What is it you would like to do in this moment, Silhouette?
2 things before I go into fighting stuff.
Yes, fighting stuff, yes.
Can I tell if the shell, I know I impacted it, if that had any influence on it whatsoever?
I'll let you use that as your free action to do
Alright.
an Arcana check on that to see if it had anything, or you want to use it on something else.
Is talking to Merc, would
That
it
would
be
be
one
a
or
free
the other?
action as well. I'll let you do one or the other.
Okay. I think maybe talking to.
Decisions.
This
Because
is what I'm
and
trying
mind
to.
you, in normal D&D, we try to keep these rounds going, right?
Yeah.
So, with the free action, you have a chance to do a communication, something that doesn't take any of your time. If you want to
Yeah.
communicate with Brahmas to take a bonus action,
Mhm.
I'll allow that, but it gets rid of your bonus action, though.
Yeah.
So,
The reason, what I'm trying to decide between is one, trying to get some insight whether or not this can actually be broken through and it's worth looking into, or if I should just skip it, or talk to Merc and be like, hey, is this guy a friend of yours, to get any insight on hey, don't do this one thing.
okay. That's tough because they both kind of could give you the same result. It just kind of you don't know the extent of what Merc knows about this. He's not really talked about this part of things with Silouan much, as this is his own burden to bear. This is the first time he's really included you into this other world that he walks side by side in. He normally
Okay.
would not involve you in this if it weren't for dire situation and your persuasiveness and gumption.
Okay, I'm gonna, in order to decide, would I have any idea that he's been here before? Do you think?
Yes, from everything
Okay.
that you've ascertained through their conversation going here and stuff, what he told you about this before you guys went in, yes, Silouan is easily clever enough to know that this is somewhere he has visited.
Okay, so I'll talk to Merc as my free action of
Okay.
hey, is this guy a friend of yours?
So right in the middle of this hellish battle, Silouan looks over her shoulder, back past these two guys, which you're heavily involved in, and you hear a, hey, it's a friend of yours, buddy. What are you saying to that, Merc?
Is she motioning to the demon or the Einerjar?
I have to ask her.
It's more towards the big guy, because I think she can assume what the Einerjar are based on context of the past few rounds.
Merc wouldn't say anything, but you'd see him in his ready stance, getting ready to go toe to toe with these two idiots again. And you'd see him put a hand over his heart. It's I've got a personal one with this one.
I think the fact that it's a personal thing, assuming they've interacted before, this guy is definitely beefy.
Fair assumption. It looks like, and I want to describe this,
Mm.
and I don't know if a lot of you were unfortunate enough to watch the movie Spawn like I did. I love the comic book movie, but this looks like it is created from hellish stuff. This isn't a thing in a suit. What you're seeing here is part of the physical makeup of this, like the shell of a beetle or the scales of a lizard. This is a construct, and this thing totally. Like in between the abalons here and these dots that are on the shoulders here that represent the eyeballs of these skull-like palerons that it has on. This thing flows with demonic and like fire elemental energy that courses through it that animates it. If it was lights out on this thing, this would look like a large stone and steel construct.
Okay.
Its face doesn't have, it has a strange kind of emotion to it, but it seems like it's made of a hellish substance. This thing looks like it would be tough.
Okay. So
It is focusing on this orb.
Okay, so task A, be a distraction. So
Okay.
she is going to try to throw her lance right into the eye, where would be the eye of it.
Okay. Now, quick note.
Mm.
We have feats that you can learn where you can actually make called shots.
Mm.
Okay. Now, if you roll a 19 or 20, I'll give you the effect of that happening.
Mhm.
But if you want to say, I'm going for the face of this sucker and stuff like that, and if you hit, I'm not going to say all of a sudden the eye is knocked out. It's
Oh, yeah.
metaphorical. But I get your just. And if you
Yeah.
roll a really good hit, I may even reward you with that. So that's cool. That's how we'll do this moving forward, so you know, okay?
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
aiming for the face because I feel like if you're trying to grab somebody's attention, going for the face is a good way to do that.
I think
Bonus
you-
points if it's the eye.
You have sold that to your DM very well. I like it. It's all good.
Okay.
Jeremy gave you a smile on that one. Go ahead.
All right.
Hey, ugly.
Yeah, right. Are you
Yeah.
hurling a lance? Describe the attack to me. What you're using before you roll the dice, please.
Yeah. So what she's gonna try to do is hurl the lance, vault, and then retrieve it, and then
You're doing that whole deal. Nicely
Yeah.
done. Okay, get after it. I like it.
see. Let's see.
Real quick, Brian, can she do her returning lance mid-bolt?
Yeah, I'm allowing it.
Mid bolt.
When you're up to APEC, you bring it
Yeah.
back to you and go. Yeah.
Oh,
You've got an ability where you can spend 1 MP to return your lance to your hand after you've thrown it.
Yeah, see, it costs you 1 MP to bring it back to you when you do it. It's not just a free thing you can do. It
And
costs
with
you
that,
1 MP.
if you vault and then return your lance, then your lance is back in your hand for you to do an aerial assault.
Yeah, I think that's what she has been
And
doing.
all
as
I
of late.
do is when you do that, I make it cost you 1 attack.
An attack.
Yes, you could use your free action to summon it back to you, but you've already had this conversation and things like that. So when you're landing,
Gotcha.
you're jumping up in the air, I'm going to take just 1 attack worth of time to be able to bring that lance back to you, okay?
Okay. Trying to think. Well, I just
You know what? Should I do that? I know that I remember, and we'll reference Critical Role here for just a minute because Matt usually knows this shit pretty well. At the end of the campaign, high level characters, the Grog had this hammer that he would throw and then would just be back in his hand, and he just kept throwing and just kept whirling that thing. So
If you counted anything like the Artificer Infusion returning weapon, it's
Yeah.
instantaneous.
let's just go with that, but the magic point cost of 1 per each time you bring it back to you will be real.
Okay, yeah, because the reason why I went like, well, is because if I did need to use an action for it at that point, she's just latching itself onto his face. So,
Right on. No, I think it's cool. We'll just remember that moving forward. It is a free action.
okay. Let's see. So I rolled a 9, which isn't great.
No, but you have
Plus-
bonuses.
I do. So that's like the 4 plus 4 plus 4, right?
Yeah, it's at the very end. I think it's a 13, isn't it? Or 12?
Yeah, 13.
13. So 9 plus 13 is?
21. Wait, no, 9 plus 22. Am I just? Why is my
22. You're fine.
my brain flatlined for a second? Yeah, 22.
22 hits him, but it does not breach him.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. So, with that, go ahead and roll your damage for your lance. Let me know what you did.
Okay. see. So 3 plus 6, 9.
9 points of damage. Nicely done. You would see that was enough to scrape the outside, but it wasn't enough to get into the exterior of this creature. As it went and hit, it kind of shifted sideways, and these large blade-like things here came at the lance and deflected it as it slid alongside them. It hit around the collarbone here, and as it did, you see the mark it left, because it left kind of a shiny streak in him, but it wasn't enough to get through it.
So what just came up and blocked it?
He just turned sideways, and this is what I think these are called. Is it the term Padawan? Is that what these shoulder plates are called typically,
Okay.
Jeremy? And as he shifted sideways, it caught in between his neck guard here and this Padawan here on the shoulder and glanced off, but the damage wasn't enough to pierce through his armor. You just hit the armor.
Okay.
That was a hit of 9. Just so
Alrighty.
you know.
Yes. Okay. So then she's going to vault and pull it back.
Roll me a Constitution check. Colby, it's going to be a 1d20 and a 1d8, and tell me if you exceed a... Yeah, I mean, you will. Just roll. If you roll shitty. If you roll 1, we're in business. This is concentration, is what I'm doing, by the way. If you're able to hit it, although you didn't hit it, you caused just a very few points of lethal damage, not very much. But if it broke his concentration on this, the orb falls. What'd you
11.
get? No, he's able to hold it. Okay, go on with your turn, Bella.
So with the lance returned and she is going to dive bomb his face.
Dive bomb that face. I like it. So, he got 5, 10, 15 to get to him. That's perfect because you can move up to 20 foot on your vault. So this will take half your movement and your bonus action. Do your vaulting attack. You're up into the air. When you get into the air, you summon your lance back to you, correct? Okay. Let's go ahead and do this with that. The other direction, please. Yes. Lance goes into your hands. Now the two of you are descending onto the creature. Blam! And you're hitting it on the way down. Go ahead and tell me what all this attack entails and roll for it.
She's not landing on the ground.
Oh, you're landing on him.
On his face. On the face area to literally be
Okay.
like the biggest distraction possible.
This is extraordinarily interesting. Okay, so go ahead. And are you adding anything to this attack?
Can I add... What is it? Weapon specialization?
You can. You can add that 1d4 to either your damage, your attack roll, or your critical hit chance. And you can do that after you make your attack roll, too, which makes it super fancy.
Okay. Let's see.
And remember, I believe the assault takes a bonus action to initiate, so the only things you could do to add damage to this would be like Gale Force Assault, and things don't cost anything. They're just...
Damn.
Next time. It's all good.
Next time. So I rolled a 16, so that's plus 13. So
29 total?
Yeah.
That hits and breaches.
Okay.
I will say because of that, you rolled a 16. Do you want to try to... If you put a 1d4 on that and you roll a 4, I'll say you got the head.
Okay.
Or, if you want to add that to your critical hit chance, if you get a 4 on that, this is going to be a double damage attack.
Okay.
It's up to you. How do you want to do this?
Add it to damage.
Okay, it's just 1d4. That's all it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's up to you. That would make the DC harder for him to beat because a concentration is based on how much damage you do to him.
Okay.
Jeremy, would you look that up for me, please, to have as a back note?
So whatever would have the higher chance of breaking his concentration, that's what I'm going to add it to.
I would, in your instance, all 3 are good options here. Let's go ahead and I'll give him, if you're able to hit him in the head of this,
Mm-hmm.
4 is pretty unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get over a 30, you're beating him by quite a bit. Add it to your attack roll.
Add the D4 to my attack.
Yeah, so you got 29 so far, right?
Yes.
Add this to your attack roll.
And that's only a 1.
Okay, that's 30. That still beats him by quite a bit. I'll give you a little bit of credibility in that. Go ahead and roll your damage. So you're doing 1d6 for your lance,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing 3d6 for your vault.
And that is.
4d6 plus 6, I think, is what you get, isn't it?
I think I just rolled a 6. I have this like cool like dice, and I just rolled the moon.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking that's 6, being that there is.
Hell yeah, that's
1.
awesome. That'll work. Yeah, definitely.
So that's 6 plus 6 plus what now?
You have 4d6 plus a solid 6, which are your bonuses to damage. So 4d6 plus 6.
So 6, 3, so 9.
Mhm.
3 again, so 12. Another 3, so that's 15.
Uh-huh. And
And then
plus
plus 6.
Yep. That's awesome. That's 21 points of damage to the Lord, and that goes straight to him.
And she's screaming at the top of her lungs various expletives.
Well done. Jeremy, for him to make concentration versus this, what's the roll, bud? She just did 21 points of lethal damage to him.
DC is 10 or half the damage, whichever is higher.
Okay, so it'd be 10 because you did 21. So half of 21 equals to be 10 or 11. Because you rolled and hit him in the head, I'll go ahead and give you the 11. I'll make this DC an 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, Colby, 1d20, 1d6. How much you get?
So it's like as if a mosquito plunged itself
it's
into the
21.
middle of your face,
Right,
and
yeah,
started
yeah.
screaming at you.
Right. What'd you get, boss? I couldn't
D20
hear
or
you.
D6, right?
A 1d20 and a
D20.
1d6.
Yeah, and then 4.
4 total?
Yes.
Lucky day, ma'am. Some mosquitoes pack a wallop. He has lost concentration on the spell circle.
I'd rather take these low rolls now than when I'm actually playing my character.
Oh, shit. Hey, if you're going to do it for the bad guys. Be a hero,
Mhm.
buddy. So, with him failing that throw, this shield drops. Holy shit. This is and no psychic damage coming your way from this one. Normally, these attacks are bad news for you, Silverman, but today, it would seem that things are okay. So let's go ahead and do this. So as that happens, the rune locking this Inheriar to the ground fades out of existence, people. Number 5. Holy shit, that's awesome, dude. That's really awesome. Number 5 falls to the ground, and I have her somewhat transparent here just because of everything she's going through. Understand that? She's still faded and looking like she's in between places and needs rescuing severely, Brahmas, if you're watching this shit. I want you to roll me a acrobatics, athletics, either one, to be able to stay on top of him when you've landed up on here with the spear. Because
Okay.
it's not a normal place you're going to be able to jump and just land on. This
Yeah.
is no rodeo, man.
Let's see. So that's D20, right?
Absolutely. D20 is just the mother dice of many things.
And it's going to be acrobatics because she's better at dex.
That's what I figured you would choose. What
Let's
you got?
see. It's a 1.
Yeah. So, what we have here is a situation where you're falling.
Mm-hmm.
You landed this thing in, and it hit. You've created a gash in the side of this creature, and because of that brimstone and stuff kind of comes out and seeps out and sparks. seem to fly up out of it, almost like like a bonfire got stirred, and it gets into your eyes a little bit. And as you're trying, you saw where your feet were going to land, but you're not able to see it, and you slip and you begin to fall. You would be falling 10 foot down here, and I need you to roll me. I'll do it. 1d6. You take 4 points of bludgeoning damage. Okay, and you still have half your movement. And do you have another attack on this turn or not? You've used 2. Do you have 3 this turn, or do you just have 2 this turn?
How do I tell with that one again?
Well, here's the thing. You have how many attacks per turn? What's it say in the middle of that column?
5/2.
Okay, so you went. First one was 2. Second one was 3. Is this your third turn since this combat? I think it's your third turn, isn't it?
Maybe? I can't remember.
Okay, so let's just do it this way then. I'm going to roll 1d10, and you're done. 11 through 20, and you get the other one that we'll say is your 4th turn, okay?
Okay.
That's a 5, so no. So next turn, you'll have your 3. Does it make sense?
Okay. Yes.
All right, so let me go ahead and do all these horrible things to you here real quick.
Sounds good.
As much as I hate to do it, but this is how
She asked
cookie
for
crumbles.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? You did. But boy, it worked out. So bam, you land here. You weren't able to find purchase. I want you to roll another one. This one's going to be just straight dexterity check. Tell me what you get. This will let me know if you're prone or not from the fall.
D20 again?
D20 plus your dexterity, which is proficiency, plus 4. So it's going to be total 8. Looking to get over 15 here. I'm going to say you're on your feet.
Yeah, that's an 18 plus my dex, which is 4.
With that, you fell and you're slipping down, and you're able to grab onto the lance that stayed you to a degree, and you hero land down here at the feet of this creature. You have 20 foot of movement left. You have steadfast assault and other things if you want to, or that can be your turn. What do you want to do here? You're in a heroic
Whoa.
Elmer Fudd here. Oh my. Yeah, that happened. I can't get over it. You are in between this demon thing and this fading an Einherjar, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. What do you want to do with the rest of your turn here, young lady?
Let's see. If I move at all, I'll incur a attack of opportunity, right?
Might happen.
I think so. And what's the steadfast thingy again?
Well, you use half your movement, which you have, and it gives you the opportunity of making an attack, but you have to do a Constitution saving throw to make sure it doesn't exhaust you.
Oh. I guess I'll just hang out for the time being because I don't think I want to take an attack of opportunity, and I already have level 1 of exhaustion, so
Yes, you do. All right,
I'll
you are
save
gonna
that
hold
for dire
your
straits.
ground. Awesome. Okay, the next person to go is going to be. You are out of there. Let me write this down. You are out of there. Someone looking for something lower than a 22 now, which is going to be this and Harry are down here, number 3. Okay, let me move to that. Okay, number 3. This guy. Remember this guy, Jeremy? He was tough as shit last time. This is an ancient barbarian spirit down here that has a large battle axe. We decided to go pretty basic with him. He sees that she has just blown out this triangular shaped radiant flame on this creature. He's going to do a charging assault. If you would, Danny, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d12 and tell me what you get.
Oh, that's a different die. Pick that one out.
D12s are rare, sir.
That would be a 24.
A 24 hits this creature and doesn't quite breach it, but does hit it. So as he goes and he charges over,
Is there any chance that I could say that if it was me and I was a barbarian with an axe, I'd be taking out his steed at the legs? I don't know if his steed is just as armored, but up to you. Because there's a lot of reach to reach something over top. But
Well,
man,
let's see here. Let's do it this way. You did a charging strike, correct? Roll me damage. It's going to be 2d8 plus 7. And remember that as his damage.
8 plus 7's 15.
Okay, 15 points of damage. All right, roll me a strength saving throw, which is 1d20 plus a 1d10. And tell me what you get. And that's the DC that this creature has to beat to not be knocked prone from your attack.
17.
Okay, let me see how I do here. Total of 15. So as this barbarian Unhariar goes rushing past and hits into the creature, it is enough to knock this hellish rider and the creature sideways, and they are knocked prone for the time being. Okay? And put down that that is number 3 or number 4, and that is prone. Okay, and Danny, you have advantage. I will let you do a smash attack against
Ooh.
this creature. What's that?
Actually, I had advantage on the first strike.
Why is this? Oh, because it was stunned. Yep, roll that d20 again. Tell me if you get a better number.
Yeah, that was a D20 and a D12 for his bonuses.
Yeah.
Ooh, 16 and 26.
Now, it would have took just a little bit more to breach it. It still would have just been a hit. These things are heavily armored. Okay? So, with that, go ahead and roll the next attack of advantage. The 1d20 and the 1d12. And let me know what you get.
That's a 19. That's a great. Oh, with advantage. Sorry. That's a 19.
Total?
Yeah.
Okay, 19 hits. Simply because this thing is prone and does not have its modifications or anything. Roll me the 2d8 plus the, what did we say it was, 7?
Yep.
And then those are with advantage because the creature is not prone.
All right, so that would be 14 plus 7 is 21.
21. Okay, this creature looks like it's on death's door. It is in bad shape. As the barbarian stands over top of it, now that it's been knocked prone, and is just heaving up and down in just heavy breaths.
Well, knowing he's a barbarian and it's that close, action surge.
Yeah, but that's a fighter does action surge, not a barbarian, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Okay.
He has.
Not bad. Are
Sorry.
you thinking about
No.
steadfast assault?
Yeah, if not knowing his feats, if he has steadfast assault,
1 through 10 he does, 11 through 20 he doesn't. He's a barbarian. There's a chance he wants to tie it up.
somebody else want to roll that to make it fair
Yeah,
that way.
Corey. Roll me a 1d20. Tell me what you get, boss.
17.
17. He does not. Correct, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be the end of that turn. We're going to move on. Okay, that was going to be this in here. Let's go ahead and go to 18. It's going to be the last in Harryar. It's going to be number 1. Where are you at, buddy? Up here? No. Wait a minute. And Harryar. This one went just
However,
now.
with
This
his
one
bonus
went.
action, he will rage.
Awesome. Let me write down rage. Just a minute, I gotta do a little correction here on a little bit of stuff on the paperwork. This one is number. Okay, that's 1. Got it.
Apologize for the slowness. I don't run a lot of barbarians.
No,
so-
well, I'm just asking you guys to join in just to have a little bit of fun last minute. Okay, so and it is raged, and that was number. Which one were you again? You were number. Which in Harryar were you, buddy?
That
Show
one
me
right
your
there.
numbers. 3. There he is. He's hiding on me. Rage. All right. Nicely done. Okay, the next one to go is going to be this one up here, which is, I believe, number 4. Is that right? Yep. Here we go. This one seems to be a rogue of some denomination. And this one is going to... it's going to be interesting. she's going to use her bonus action and do a little bit of funny stuff, and all of a sudden she fades out of existence. And the next time you all see her, she is going to attempt to do a sneak attack with advantage on a prone creature that is tied up with a barbarian standing over top of it, which will bring her out of invisibility. And then for that roll, I would like this to be Jeremy. Or no, you know what? Corey, have some fun. 1d20 to 1d10 and tell me what you get. This will be with advantage.
I think
Oh Lord, I'm sitting here talking, and I'm like, "Fuck you, Brian, for not listening to me." But I was muted. I rolled a
Yeah.
15. That's the highest, and then a 9 as the highest. So is that am I adding those?
Yes, you are.
So that's math.
That is a breaching attack. So,
24.
for a level 7 rogue, does anyone know what the backstab multiplier is for around a level 7 rogue? Let's just do something off the top of our head, guys.
I think it's like 66.
Okay? Let's go ahead and roll up 6d6 plus a 1d4. And I'm going to add...
Am I rolling that?
Sure.
All right, cool. 'Cause I got
It'll
a
be
bunch of
added 2 at the
66.
end of that. 6d6, 1d4 plus 2.
Who's got D4s? These things suck.
It's not a very big dagger.
6, 8, 12,
She comes back into existence.
22. That's 22.
22 points of damage. Paint me a picture. What's it look like, Corey? As she sneaks up on this thing, it's prone. The other barbarian and Harry are standing over top of it, hefting heavily, winding that axe up, getting ready to take another blow on it, and you come back out of the void as you've stepped out of being invisible to land and a flanking sneak attack against a creature, finishing it off. Tell me where you landed the attack and what it looks like.
She walks up behind it, and she kills it.
Well done. So, with that, you're done, sir. Okay, awesome. Now, moving forward. Hey, sometimes the simplest answer is the best answer. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
It's
saying.
not too late to give the correct answer for the sneak attack thing, but it's 46 out of 7.
Well, damn it! You had to call me out. Gosh.
Corey, Colby, whose side are you on?
Right.
Really?
No one. I'm a neutral party.
Wait a minute. What level is it for a sneak attack?
7. Level 7.
Yeah. It's 46.
Well, Colby, just so you know, it only had 11 hit points left. So,
Either way, it died.
So,
Hey,
I mean-
hey, I wasn't saying that he had to re-roll it. I'm just saying that.
you know,
for
he
future
finally speaks
fights.
up. He finally speaks up in the
Yep.
middle of someone else's turn just to tell him, no, that's terrible. It's terrible. Your
Cool.
timing is awesome, man.
Well,
Okay.
that may be, but if that had the assassin kit, going forward,
Yeah, get him, Danny. You get him while I do the numbers. Get him.
it also had advantage on the attack roll. And if it
Listen.
was surprise, which it was, is also critical damage.
I am just proud of Colby for literally in a split second figuring that
Everybody,
out.
please just let's do it. Let's for Colby. There he is. Well played, sir. Well played.
Colby, the future DM for sure.
The
Be like,
future DM all day. So
Yeah.
that happened.
Sounds perfect, but you are completely wrong with your numbers, sir.
It's terrible. Bella's like, all right, guys, come on, let's get our heads wrapped around this shit, shall we?
Nah.
We're over here
we can
standing
get
underneath
the-
of a towering Dark Lord, and you guys are bitching over 2d6. It's getting serious. Next person to go is going to be God, I had to write this down in a hurry. I apologize, everyone. Is going to be right here. Let's night number 1. Let's find that real quick on our handy dandy map. It's going to be this guy. Okay. So, Jeremy, he was down below. I said he was bloodied. If you want to call leaking molten lava blood. Bloodied at the end of the last combat. Because he was the one, I don't remember if he was the central target of your cleaving. But was he the central? Or was this one the central, the one you killed up here?
I was pretty sure we eliminated that one at the bottom. Because it did a cleaving strike. Pinned him against the wall.
I was going to bring up, I wasn't sure. That's why I was getting ready to ask you.
Yeah, because I think after that, because remember I wanted to use my finishing blow on that one, and we found out it'd stack. So
guess
that's
what?
why I turned my attention to him.
Bye-bye. Oh, hey, I'm eliminating and Harry Arns, and I need to be on enemies, because that would make more sense. Numbers are hard. Just a minute here. Oh, yeah, you're gone. Done, because Jeremy said so. Okay.
If that one's got any intentions on going anywhere whatsoever, his speed was reduced by 10 feet.
Okay. It is going to... There's stone pillars to the left and right of it. It fills the space pretty well, and it's defending what's going on back here. So I am going to do... I'm going to use its action. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay. So, as this happens, you see the creatures rear up its hooves. And just when you think it's getting ready to attack at you, okay? Because, by the way, the hooves of Nightmare look like Scooby-Doo's paws when he's going... yeah. So, whatever that was, yeah. And as he comes down, they miss you. And they swipe, and the hooves of the creature hit the ground heartily. And all of a sudden, when that happens, the earth starts to shatter and erupt from around it. Now, you'll notice, and I can't do it in the graphics, but the flame from the nightmare seems to subside, which normalizes the creature, just makes it look like a black undead stallion of some sorts. But the flame is wiped away from it for a little while. I can't tell you how many turns, but to enable to enact this ability. But the important thing is what it brings to the table. Because when that happens, and this is Undead Century number 1, I want to make sure to give this to the right person. Is this the right one? Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay. You're going to see this. Come into play. And the ground and everything cracks around it and becomes difficult terrain as spires of like rock and brimstone and shit erupt out of the ground. At that moment, I need you to do me a dexterity saving throw, Jeremy. Or Merc, or whoever. What'd you get, boss?
21.
21 is a success. You only take half the damage from it. And that is going to be 4 points of piercing fire damage. It's a hybrid damage that this causes. Okay?
And that goes against my non-lethal, right?
Correct. Because it wasn't enough to breach. Get through your armor. Okay? So, with that, he is going to hold his ground, and he's going to do a bonus action lance attack at you. And let's go Mortal Slayer. Ooh! 23. What's that do?
I get the right sheets here.
Note to veteran players, have your character sheets out before people attack you. The more you know.
23. ACP is. Yeah, my 22 is my ACP, and then whatever my armor grade is, I think we said 7. So
Okay.
it's 29 if it need 29 to breach.
Okay, so it hits you but doesn't breach you. Okay. So this would be to your armor. And you have to know what your armor's breaking point is, okay? And this is going to tell you what that is. Mortal Slayer.
Am I technically immortal though?
You know what? That's debatable. I'll tell you what I'll do. Corey, roll me a 1d20, 1 through 10. This creature may know some other kind of slayer that it's using against you in this instance. 11 through 20, it has mistaken you for a mortal, and it does not work.
Both.
Of course. You are not immortal, Jeremy, you vicious bastard. So, it's still 13 points of damage. So, does that breach the armor?
Now, was that what did it? It rolled a 23, did it, right?
Yes, it did. In this form, I don't think you have. In your celestial form, I don't think you have an armor class. And you just have the regular ACP, but your armor and you are fused into one immortal being.
Right. Oh, we just had the armor class primary, armor class breach. I don't know.
You whatever. See,
Now-
you can't have it both ways, buddy.
Question.
Go ahead.
Because I haven't used it enough, and I need to, because it'd be hellaciously if it's used properly.
Okay, I'm listening.
With a 23, having broke my armor class primary, it
Right.
would be counterattack, right? Or is it abolishing?
This would be abolishing strike. Counterattack is when you use it when something misses you.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. Okay. So, abolishing.
You have a reaction. Is that what you're doing?
I think so. I gotta find it here real quick.
Okay. If you have it, I can walk you through this.
I was thinking I had his feet in here somewhere.
Note number 2. Have your skills ready.
Well, I had it all set up on D&D Beyond,
No.
and then I wound up deleting the whole thing.
That's not
I'm gonna go
cool
back
at
and do it
all.
all again.
Well, here's what you do.
Fortunately.
You use your reaction, you add a 1d10 to your armor class, and you roll it. And if they miss, that means you're able to abolish the strike. So, you roll 1d10. I know the guy that wrote it.
I'd hope so.
Right
Let's
on.
hope- Let's hope the two of you never get into an argument.
He's an arrogant fuck. I'd hate to talk to him. He's not cool. No. What'd you get?
Still trying to figure out why it is out of all of my dice, I have like one 1d10.
You know.
So that's 5.
Okay, that adds 5 to the ACP, which means the 23 that missed you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have to roll DC to see if it actually makes me end my turn simply because of the way that you have shunned off the attack. And I missed you by how many?
That would have put me up to a 27, so you missed me by 4.
Okay, who did we lose? Danny? Yeah, okay. So good news for everybody in the video editing world. Not only did Bella move, but now everybody's shape has changed. Congratulations. Corey knows my pain, and we're going to roll on, because this is D&D, not Video D. Okay. He passed the DC with flying colors. He rolled a natural 19 on D20. So it does not off-put him, but sadly enough, that was kind of the end of his turn anyway. You would take no damage from the attack, but the attack, because you used Abolishing Strike on it, we'll go ahead and make that the end of that turn, and for him, and that was number 1. Let's get number 1. He went. Okay, that is 17. What's after 17? Let's look here. Okay, you're good. We're not going to do you. Let's do... Hold on here. You were going right after the Lich, correct? The main bad. That's what we discussed earlier.
I think you said he was going right after me because my dex beat him.
Okay, that'll work. Okay. All right, so we have Velendal's turn. Okay. Let's see. Colby. Roll me a 1d20. A 1 through 15, nothing happens. A 16 through 20, Velendal is going to try to use Dispel Magic on that field that's over there. It's been laid down.
You can get rid of that other dude around that, and Harry, all right?
Yeah. Which one?
No, the other one. The
Yes.
one that, yeah.
Yes. That is number 4. Okay, thank you. And you're done for.
Boy.
Bye. Nice.
10.
You said 10?
Mm-hmm.
She does not do the dispel to that. And then we are going to move her along. And how do I want to do this? Let's see. Let's have her 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. She's flying up above this stuff. And from here, she's going to do a lancing attack. 10, 20, 30, 40. That's in range. Let's go ahead and do the aura.
You
Seems
just
to
get rid of this asshole in front of me so I can move.
right on. She's going to do, it's going to end up kind of working as if it's a high level guiding bolt, but it's going to look like multiple lances flying through the air from her that are summoned into existence over towards the creature, and it's going to pepper it. So at this point, guiding bolt, it's normally just one thing, but it starts at 4d6, and the d6 gets higher the higher level it's cast, correct? Guiding bolt's a level 1 spell, and I'm going to roll 1d4 and see what level she's casting it at. That is a 4. So that's going to add 3 more d6 to it. So it's 4 to begin with, and 3 more on top of that. And if you would, let's see here. And does Guiding Bolt, is it just a dexterity thing, or does she have to do a spell attack roll for it? I think it's a spell
It's a
attack roll.
range.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a ranged spell attack.
Okay, Corey, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d12 together and tell me what you get.
Nat 20 and a 2.
And that 20?
And a 2. Yeah.
That's outstanding. Holy shit, really? Okay, so the damage for this is going to be 4d6 plus 3d6 is 7d6. Okay. Oh, wow. 15,
That karma came back on us
26,
from that road.
52, plus the bonuses. Shit! 62 points of radiant damage is what this ends up hitting. It breached and it hit. That is a heavy hit on this being.
Oh, this is our people? Oh, cool.
Yeah, the Velendal just threw the guiding bolt over top of this area at him and hit it for that much. I'm going to admit Danny back in here real quick. And we all move again, which is fun. So, that's a huge hit. I need to roll for an effect here. I need to roll a composure check. For the fun of it, Danny, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8. And tell me if you get 15 or higher.
Got a 17.
Okay.
Wow.
The
Internet
creature-
came on just in time.
I know. No, I planned it that way. It's all good. Make sure to turn that light out and shut the door. Okay. So that hit had a chance of making this creature bug out. I did a composure check, but Danny succeeded. The creature is not going to retreat. Not from that attack. Not today. Okay. So, damn, big hits. And it will have advantage on the next attack after it. That goes and hits it. Okay, so that's going to be Velendal. She went. Okay, that is going to leave... that Lich went. The other one is dead. It is your turn, Jeremy.
How does this guy in front of me look?
Ta-da-ta-da. He's bloodied.
Okay. Now, given that Merc hovers a little bit, is he affected by that terrain?
Yes, it would be a 5-foot range up above it. These things jet up and hit in that area.
First things first. I'm going to... Oh, we got to get him out of my way before now. So I had a whole mess of shit going that guy's way.
Okay.
So, I'm going to...
Oh, by the way, it's the start of your turn. Roll me a dexterity throw real quick.
12.
No. You take 7 points of piercing fire damage. And you notice that you're because you're a celestial being, this isn't really so much going to affect your armor points and things like this. This affects your actual hit points because you don't have an exterior barrier being a celestial being. Okay? Alright. It is difficult terrain, and you have taken that damage. What is it you're doing on your turn for the rest of it?
Alright. He's taking a great sword to the face.
To the
Oh,
face.
baby.
Everyone, you and Selwyn both's like, I'm not going to aim for the ass cheek. I'm not going to do the left shoulder. The face.
Well, you know,
No.
I mean, realistically, it's going to be to the horse's face, but I count them as one unit.
Well, we are in a world of make-believe, but if we want to say realistically, I understand.
So, I did reading over my stuff. I did learn something.
Yes.
I completely forgot about the part where improved divine smite adds a permanent 1d8 radiant damage to every attack, as well as an additional 1d8 to my divine smite. So that's a lot of damage I could have bumped in there, but
Well,
that's okay.
Moving
going
forward, I think you grow, you live, and you learn.
Yeah. So we know better for now. So
Right.
now he's going to be taking.
Well, if you
So
hit
it
it, you don't
is.
know that he's
Anyway.
taking shit. Yeah.
True. All right. So first swing
Yes.
is a 19 plus 9, 28.
28 hits and breaches.
All right.
You're not competing with any of that silly armor shit. You're going for the face.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and use my D4 for the turn.
To try to get a critical hit out of it.
Yeah.
What'd you roll in your dice?
A 19.
Well, you just roll 1, you're going to have your critical hits. Go ahead and roll
Right.
just for the hell of it and see what you get.
Well, somehow, some way, I'll roll a 0.
And you know what? If it ends up on its point, take a picture of it and you're fucked.
Roll a 1.
It works. You have it, and it's the one time you can do it on your turn. You have a critical hit transformed out of that attack. It breached, and now it's doing double the dice. So, talk to me about the dice.
So it is standard. It's going to be 46
Yep.
for slashing. It's going to be 2. Yeah, my improved smite that'll double too, right? Did 1d8 bonus,
If it's a dice that's added to the attack, it's doubled.
so that's 2d8 for that.
Okay, so be realistic here. Tell me basically what the dice are, and then we'll double it when you're done.
Okay, that'll work.
Because you're just 46 is confused. I'm like, where the fuck are you getting that? Just tell me the basics, and we'll double it when you're done.
So 2d6,
That's your sword.
1d8,
That's your improved divine smite.
and then Spirit Shroud is active, which I believe is an additional one.
1d8. Okay, so you got 2d8, 2d6. Go ahead and roll those. Tell me what you get.
All right, so that is 7 slashing damage plus 4, so that's 11 slashing damage.
Okay.
And then it is 6 for the improved smite,
Okay.
3 for the Spirit Shroud.
Okay. So that turns into 22 slashing and 18 practically radiant damage, correct?
Yes, definitely radiant.
Okay. The 18 gets a plus half versus this creature because you suck. 27 plus 22. And what's your overall bonuses to that attack?
Just that plus 4.
In your spirit form. Correct?
Yeah, 2d6 plus 4. Or yeah.
Okay, plus 4. Got it. 20, 40, 40. 53 points of damage. Paint me a picture, Jeremy. I've got a really good one if you want me to do it. Because you were going for the horse's head, right?
Yep.
You
Tell me
want-
what you got, storyteller.
Okay. So, as this creature's flames have diminished, because it was trying to create this broken earth field to keep you guys pushed back away from the target of this Dark Lord's sinister plot to kill this Inheriar outright, wiping it from existence. As this field is emitted, you can see the fading image of this Inheriar over here, number 5, just outside the reach of it, crawling her way backwards to some degree. As you look past, because now the flames have died down enough from the nightmare where you can see it in the distance, you take the great sword and you heft it up, raising one of your legs, almost like you remember yourself chopping wood as a young boy. You bring this sword down on the head of this nightmare, and with the velocity that you went through, it cleaves through the head of the creature and finds purchase and buries it in the gut of the rider. As flame seems in brimstone and as sparks seem to fly out of the side piece of it, and you hit into the rider, the creature topples down and the rider falls into the ground in front of you, holding its guts, which seems to be like, you ever dump a charcoal grill out? That's what you're seeing at the end of it when you're done with the barbecue. That's what it's holding in, as it's holding together barely by a thread. The nightmare, of course, you took outright and stuff like that, but he is on death's door, as they are practically one creature. You have another attack, don't you?
Mhm.
What would you like to do in that instance? He is prone on the ground in front of you, holding those ashes in, as the nightmare lays there lifeless with one part of its face removed.
He's not blocking my way anymore, is he?
No.
I'm gonna walk past him.
Nice. That is actually wise that you did that. Damn you. I didn't expect that. Damn you.
He's not the one
so
I've got the quarrel with.
as you do that, your movement is that would have broken me. Make sure his concentration is broke with disadvantage, and that's going to get rid of this area. Yeah, that got rid of that. Doubly damned. Let's go here.
Yeah.
As him. Let's go ahead and move away the brimstone vortex. And he is laying on his side, the nightmare pretty much destroyed, and just holding those ashes in, trying to cling on to unlife, as it would be. You are going to use your movement, and you are going to march forward towards this creature.
Yep.
Okay.
As far as I can get, 35 feet.
Okay, let's go ahead and get it here real quick. The gang, where are you? Here we are. Okay, Brahmas. Let's move you, sir. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 is going to put you right there. You're in great sword distance. You are beside Silhouette. You would have to go an extra 35 to be able to swing right at it as she's in between you two.
All
Is
right.
that what you're doing?
Yep.
Do you have a free action word to say to this being over here or anything, or are you just going to town?
As he's walking past the area, he's just gonna look at it. Get to safety.
Okay. All right. So, finish your turn here, Jeremy. What are you doing?
Bonus action. Branding smite. 3rd level.
Okay. And that does what again to the creature? I know it's like 3d8, but what does the branding entail?
Branding
think
is
it can't
radiant
turn-
damage.
I think it can't like turn invisible or some shit like that. I'm not sure all the stuff, right?
Yeah, if it's invisible, it becomes visible, and it can't become invisible, and it sheds 5 feet of light. At 3rd
Okay.
level, that'll be 3d6 radiant damage.
Okay, and you add this to an attack roll, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of attack are you making here?
Since Silhouette is up against it, isn't it? Oh, it's already got advantage because of guiding bolt.
Yes.
And he's taking every inch of this great sword I can give at him.
It's borderline perverted, but I like it. Go ahead. Every inch of my love.
So that is going to be 27 to hit.
27 just breaches.
Yes. All right.
And here's the thing. It wouldn't have. And I took into consideration the things that's happened with the guiding bolt and her hitting it in the head and the different things that's happened here in the last few moments have done some things. Trust me when I say this. You just snuck that by.
Awesome.
Mm.
All right. So
Bastard.
with that hit, I'm also pouring in a 3rd level Divine Smite, which because of the improved Smite is now 5d8 radiant damage.
Okay.
And then the regular attack, which is 2d6 plus 4 plus an additional 1d8. And the 1d8 is radiant too.
Okay, so roll up your totals and tell me what's radiant and what is straight damage.
So
Corey, pull up Hellish Rebuke for me, please.
12, 13, 14. Okay, 15 slashing. So 11 plus 4.
While you're figuring that up, Corey, does Hellish Rebuke have ability to cast it at higher levels?
Yes. For an additional 1d10.
Okay. 5th level is how many d10s?
So it's 1 every additional, so that's 6.
And that is a reaction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a deck save.
And it is used at the moment that they receive
It's
damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
The creature that damaged him, yeah.
Okay. Roll that up for me and just keep that number in your back pocket. Add 4 to that as well. Just a basic standard 4. I like that music. That battle music's fun, dude. Can you guys hear that okay? It adds a thing. It just makes me happy. Corey, start thinking about what Kill Tusk is going to do, because I got a feeling this is concluding pretty soon.
Right.
Jeremy's like got sweat rolling down his head. Danny's complete face is hidden. It's
All right.
crazy in here. Hey, Danny, what's up?
So, 15 slashing,
Got it.
7 radiant
Got it.
from the D8,
Mm-hmm.
10 radiant from Branding Smite,
Got it.
18 radiant from Divine Smite,
Got it. And then your regular bonus is what? 4?
that was already included.
Okay. In the 15?
Yep.
Okay, and that's everything in that attack, correct?
Yep.
Tell me what that looks like. Describe to everybody so we know how this is going down.
Oh, as he's coming up, he's got that great sword dragging off the ground, and as it's picking up sparks off of that brimstone, you see his great sword light up with almost like a divine flame as he comes up and he brings it up into the side of this thing.
Okay. As that happens, you inflicted a very heavy wound on this creature. And you hear the echoed call of Velendal back behind you. She says in a mightily voice, she goes, "That's it. You've got him." As you do this strike and land it upon him, he begins to weaken significantly as he begins to fade in and out. Okay? You can see the colors and things starting to fade and drain from him as embers and ash pour from the wound that you've put into him. You did, after I did the multipliers for the radiant damage and stuff, you end up doing a total of 70. Now, here's something that you have to write down. Okay? I want you to roll me a spell save DC of 1d20 plus what your charisma spell DC would be.
A natural 20 plus bonuses.
Are you serious?
It's serious.
What's the you fucker? What's the bonuses?
Spell save DC. 8 plus proficiency plus ability modifier. 16.
Oh God. Okay. So that's gonna do it. I don't think I can beat that. No. No, not even with advantage. Okay. Here's what this looks like, bud. I want you to write this down. This is going to be called I'm trying to decide how I want to call this. I think there's a spell called Banishing Smite, correct?
That's
Yeah.
the one I did for my epic action, yeah.
Okay. So Banishing Smite is going to be able to be conjured up by you when you either bloody or drop a creature to 0 hit points.
Every third critical.
Every third critical. Okay, and you rolled a 20 on... Let's see, if we're going to do that... That's going to be enough right there as it is. So... The creature is going to be fading in and out of existence in this moment. In that moment, you have the blessing of Velendal. And you see this creature start to get sucked out of this void. Okay? As it is losing its composure, and you see pieces start to crumble and fall off this creature, brimstone, falling along the ground. Silouan, roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Let's see, 4 + 4, 8.
Ooh, 8. Okay. Jeremy, roll me a dexterity saving throw as this creature's starting to leave this plane. From a mortal wound that you've just inflicted on it.
$13.
13. You guys did not pass. Corey, what was the total damage of that?
35.
You guys take 35, both of you. Take 35 points. Let's go ahead and go 15 points of necrotic damage and 20 points of fire damage. As a flame erupts from the void around this creature and jets out
I don't think you're taking the AC.
as it is returning to its own plane.
What are you calling half of 15? Is it
7.
7? Cool.
So I'm hoping I have counted my health wrong, because I have me at 34 health HP.
Which would
So
take you to what?
-1.
Okay. Oh, you have something that you need to take consideration. Which, theatrically, things are a little different here sometimes. But your armor has a fire resistance to it, does it not?
She's got resistance to it because of warding bond. I take half of her damage anyway.
Okay.
But doesn't it work the other way too? Or no?
I take half of your damage. You don't take half of mine.
Okay, Jeremy, what's that put you at then?
Mine hits me to 36, so whatever half of hers would be. You said it was 35 altogether.
Uh-huh.
So I'm resistant to necrotic damage. So if I take half of her necrotic damage, it'd be half of half. So 4 necrotic damage, and then what? 10 fire damage.
And I do have resistance to fire.
We said it was 15 necrotic and it was 20 fire.
Yeah. So I would take 10 fire, 7 necrotic, but I'm resistant to necrotic, so I'd take 4 necrotic. So
Okay.
10 fire, 4 necrotic.
And what does that turn her damage into?
It's whatever she has resistance to both, so she'd only take half of that.
Okay.
I
so
think I have
35.
resistance to fire, not necrotic.
Well, you get
Right.
resistance to it because of the warding bond. You get resistance to all damage.
I
Okay. Which I don't stack those.
Mhm.
Okay. So it'd be 35 total. Let's go ahead and go 17's half. So you would have took 17 points of damage from that, of necrotic and fire. Okay.
Mhm.
And with that, the creature, as it's holding and puts its hands on that mark that you just laid across where you as you described it before, Jeremy, the creature's mouth and face starts to fall apart. and those large ram horns on top lose that dark onyx crust that is on them, and they reveal bone. Looks like ancient, like ram's bones that are in the head of this thing. And as some of the parts start to fall off of the creature, some turn to dust, some seem like bone remains that were constructed and part of the makeup of whatever this creature was. Large chunks of the Padawan start to fall off in the chest plate, and they land in the large embered stones that made up the eyeballs on the front chest of this thing to give it that demonic look. Fall to the ground, sizzle, and start to turn black, as if a cool iron ball. Okay? And as it starts to fall down, no words from the creature. No words. As it falls down and lands, it was reaching out towards Silouan. And as it comes down, the hands touch the wyvern plate from the front of her because of the failed dex check, but they crumble and fall apart as they go down, which would have inflicted some damage to the front of her armor. And it disintegrates and falls into the pieces of what is a large clawed hand on the ground in front, as the demon lord is no more.
And the Inheriar is okay?
And Harryar seems to be just clinging on barely. We are out of initiative right now.
Mm.
So you guys have your chance to role play this moment. As Velendal makes her way over to you all. Okay. And let's go ahead and change things up just a little bit here with our maps. We are out of initiative. So what would you all like to do? I'll start with you, Silouan. You just saw this happen. This creature was reaching out, trying to do its finishing act on you, and fell to pieces in the wake of this. That protection that Merc put on you was very relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so just the three things that she wants to accomplish right now is one, call to Velendal, be like, hey, is this chick gonna be okay?
Okay.
Roll for artifacts.
Okay. And what artifact are we rolling for?
Things she can show Ignatius.
Yeah, something to like, because she's checking for artifacts and this is really cool. So she has maybe something in front of her. The third thing she wants to do is give a high five to Merc, but like, you know.
Okay. Let's do the reactions first, and we'll go through what we're digging through and finding afterwards. Okay.
Cool.
So it's just ironic that your wallpaper was the one up in that moment, so it's all good. So with that, guys, we're getting ready to cut to the next scene. We'll finish up here in just a few more minutes. Jeremy, what is Merc saying in this moment as you are hurting? Both of you don't feel particularly great, as this was pretty grueling on you. But with the help of Velendal and you guys pulling out some awesome shit, it seems like you have been able to save the soul of this Inheriar that was on the brink of being erased. What are you doing, Merc?
Merc is standing where he was, and he's looking out over that lava pool and at the spot where that demon was standing.
Okay.
He's not saying anything. He's just standing there, kind of heaving breaths, trying to keep his composure. Even though he took a hit like that, he's not willing to let it show until he knows that there is no sign of that demon left.
Silouan, as you go up to him and you're looking around, you're seeing some of the pieces of some of this armor, and we'll roll to see what's left behind. You're seeing these cooling iron-like symbols that were like orbs inside of him. And you think to yourself, you know, I'm going to high-five him. And you go over and you see him. You see the back of Merc looking off to the lava fields in this stoic way. And the joy that you had for just a minute ago is like, man, we just kicked something's ass. Yay, you know what I mean? It reminds you that sometimes the cost of battle is pretty heavy on the soul. I'd like for you to go ahead and role play through that moment if you don't mind, with him looking out over top of the lava field and you walking up to do whatever you'd like to do at this point.
I think she may have gone from like a upward high five type motion to maybe kind of seeing this energy, and she may go to like try to take his hand. Like a comfort, sort of like,
Okay.
hey, we're here type thing.
Okay. Merc, what are you doing?
With that, he wouldn't look at her, but he would, squeeze her hand. You were in the most danger of anyone here.
Yeah, but I'm not going to let you be alone anymore. So I'm okay with that.
It's my hope that that's the last we've seen of that one.
Yeah. But there's going to be other big guys. So.
With that, you feel the soft wind blows a little bit of the warm air in this place past you all, and some of the dust and ashes stir from the remains of this demon lord, supposedly, as Velendal lands down behind you two. Her wings fade off as now you're left looking at what is a warrior maiden as she takes the helmet off. She walks over to Merc and she looks at you. The other eye, she gives you a knowing look with that Mona Lisa type like smile. One that is just beneath the surface, could be misinterpreted if not careful. And she says to you, Merc, she says, the young one is right. This isn't over. It'll never be over in our lifetime, Mercandal. But this is a victory, and as such, should be celebrated. She goes, are you ready to go back?
He looks at her, and then he looks back out over the lava field. Yes.
She looks over to you and she smiles a little bit more pleasantly when she looks over to you, Silhouette. And as she's doing this, something very strange is happening in the background. These other Einherjar are walking over to her, and they are kind of, their heads down just a bit. And they're kind of brushing off, and they're going by, and you'd see the young one, the one that was the rogue with the dagger, sheath the dagger and give you a knowing look, and they walk right into the back of her, as if they're walking into where her wings were spread on her back, and they literally look like souls merging to her. But she's not paying attention to them. It's like it's not even happening as she looks at you. Do you say anything, and what is your reaction to that? As she looks to you and has a pleasant smile on her face, as if she's getting ready to address you one-to-one.
So you always have a party with you, huh?
She smiles. She goes, I sometimes forget the words of those living. A party.
You always have friends with you.
She looks over. She goes, so, Merc, would you consider us friends? Or am I just a necessity for your extended life? You'd have to ask him if I truly have friends with me or not. I am an extension. And she walks a little bit closer to you as another one of these, the barbarian one that had the great axe, gives you and looks you in the eye, which is kind of hollow. These things are somewhat transparent, but gives you a knowing look and seems to be wiping what would be makeshift snot off of his nose and spits as he walks into the back of her as she absorbs another one. You notice now that she's a little bit closer to you that her hair seems to wisp a little bit of each soul that enters into her. Okay? And she says, if I befriend every soul, then every soul that I lose takes a piece of mine.
I think that happens with all of us.
She goes, I see your eagerness, child. I see it. And now that demon lord has seen it as well. And she nods happily She goes, keep a hold of that for as long as you can. And she goes to turn away, and she has another thing left to say, and her mouth kind of parts and opens. And she looks at Brahmas, and she gets kind of a grin on her face. And she looks back over at you and says, but if you ever start to lose that feeling, if you ever start to wonder what the battle is for, come find me.
Well, I do hope I'll see you again whenever you call on him.
She kind of raises her eyebrow and kind of nods. She goes, I hope so as well. Every party needs guests. And as she walks over past you two, and she's going to the one that's laying on the ground that is barely in this moment, she takes out her lance and it materializes in her hand. She takes it down and she lays it across the shoulders of this being, this other female in Harryar that was laying in that flaming circle. Almost like you see in the movies where a person's being knighted. And as that happens, you see those same spectral wings form around this in Harryar as they formed around you, Silouan, to protect you at one point. Healing it to a degree and bringing it more back to the now, where it starts to get a little bit more substance to it. Okay? And as it raises up, and the wings give it one last flap and are able to pick up the being as its legs lay limp and its arms lay back. She gives a nod and she says to the thing, and you can hear over the wind, she goes, "You've served your purpose. Rest. Come." She puts the lance away and the soul comes into her and joins with her. In that moment, the wings reappear on the Valkyrie's back and spread wide in a sudden flap. Okay? As she turns around, she looks to you all and she goes, "Follow me. Someone's been trying to get a hold of you." As she walks forward, getting ready to open up the portal back into Brahmas. Let's go ahead and pause. We'll take like a 10-minute break. Then we'll come back to this and we'll take up with the other folks on the other side of the campaign. Does that sound good? Okay. Yeah. So now I'm going to try the pause trick, where I'm going to pause two at once here. We'll see how this goes. Going to pause. Going to pause. And 3, 2, 1. Go. Okay, we're good. All right. Just want to make sure we're back. I'm doing some tricky stuff, folks, so it's going to look a little different than normal. So, now that we're back, let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that you were trying to find in the remains of this. Now, you were asking something. You had mentioned you wanted to make sure and talk to Merc about the fact that you weren't going to be bringing back any kind of demonic spirits or any kind of sinister shit like that. So, Merc, how would you respond to something like that? And do you have a check you need to roll?
I mean, Merc really doesn't have any reason to believe that that would be the case.
Okay.
So he wouldn't really object to it very much, other than kind of a why.
Do you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, so there's a lot to discover in like this world. I learned that as much from like Ignatius.
Merc stops you right there and says, "Oh, no.
Why? Oh, no.
Ignatius needs to know nothing about this."
Why?
Because as long as I've known Ignatius, I'll be in hot water. You'll be in hot water for tagging along with this. And it's hard telling who else will be in hot water.
What if I do like a hypothetically I found this type? I don't. It doesn't feel right not to tell him though.
You're gonna say hypothetical, and Merc's just gonna lower his head and just like me, was just looking over his glasses. Just how long have you known Ignatius?
I mean, since I was born, but
Your whole life, yeah.
Does he
My
seem like
whole-
one to fall for a hypothetical question?
no, I've tried that. I didn't get away with it, but
It's true.
there's learning behind this.
That's also a valid point.
How about this? I don't tell Ignatius, but I feel like there's a lot to learn from what's going on here. And if I'm gonna like be helping you out, because I am going to be helping you out. You're stuck with this now.
Very suggestive.
No, taking out the if. I am now your wingman in this weird realm, and maybe there's like maybe I can learn something from this, and then like it'll like figure out how to do something to my armor, or like so I kind of want to take a rock or a piece of something.
All right. You have a fair point. It
Cool.
does not leave Brahmas until we know it is safe.
I'll put in the study. Okay. Fine.
It's better to release a demon inside the castle than out in the world.
Fair. Fair. Okay.
So, you guys, you've decided that you've bullshit yourself into believing that it's okay to take a few things as long as you leave them inside of Brahmas so they have time to decompress, as it were, and see what's going on, right?
Mm.
Okay. So,
Sounds like a great idea.
every great movie starts
Mark
with this
is
shit.
all sorts of confident.
Oh,
Not
you
really.
know how I always say that you guys write this and I just kind of make up the story along what you guys do. I just want to say thanks for giving me such great material to just come up with some shit. Just because it's really nice. So moving forward,
We don't want to let this loose in the world, but how about where my soul inhabits? That sounds like a great idea.
the crocodile hunter, I think I want to touch it. Pretty sure I do. So we're gonna move forward. A lot of respect to him, but man, he was ornery.
Lucky, this snake is that
I
much.
know. We need to stop the poor guy. He was a nice guy, but dude, he was ornery. So
He was awesome. God, it's my childhood.
he was. So, and these two are also for now. Go ahead and roll. What's that check that you have the bonuses for, Silouan? What is it you're wanting to roll here?
So we had made up the check of the identify artifact that I have a +1 to,
Mhm.
but I don't think we identified what that is.
Well, that's finding something that's existing and being able to tell things about it.
Mhm.
Okay. So, first I want you to do an investigation check on the surrounding area of the remains of this demon lord. Some things that are laying around here, and the higher you roll, the better kind of stuff, or the more kind of stuff you'll find.
Okay. That's a nat 1.
Okay. Keeping life really simple for me.
I find a rock. No.
You do. No, a lot of this seems to be coming apart or being unwoven right in front of you. As more of this wind picks up and blows across this area, this hot air coming off of the lava fields, and the stuff just seems to be disintegrating into ash, almost like what we said looks like it's the bottom of like a grill when you're done cooking out and things like that. The very few pieces that you sift through and look at that look like an extra piece of shell or a piece of armor or something like that look tantalizing, but as soon as you touch them, they too also succumb to the exact same kind of ebbing away and corrosion that the rest did. in the midst of that, because of the natural one, you wouldn't even think to. You would think that the two metallic onyx-like looking eyes would fall in the same category. They would have to be falling apart as well, and that would be the end of your search. All you could do is possibly collect some of the ash, and I will say if you wanted to write down the remains of what that flaming circle looked like, because you saw it left a rune on the ground. I'm not going to say you didn't want to do that because I know you like etching stuff down in your journal.
Mhm.
I'll give you that, but that's it.
Okay. I think
Okay.
she like gets like a little bit of ash and like maybe she has like a little bag or like a little vial. Like maybe she has
Okay.
vials and stuff on her. But then she goes like, well, actually, hold on. Well,
There it is. Nice. I like it. I like props. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
if anything, I have a memento from our first battle in this
You do.
together.
Next time she's play, guys, you know that's full of dirt. You know that's full of dirt next time we play. She'll be like, see,
And since
got my demon in a bottle.
since I'm not on camera, it is a glass. How do you describe this?
A glass receptacle. I'm going with it. Receptacle is very broad, and people watching this video will be like, so it's good. I'll have fun, and
You
they'll have
come
fun.
out being like Jack Sparrow. Oh, I got a jar of dirt.
Right? Yep,
Pretty
that's
much.
exactly right.
And she's gonna like maybe like almost like, you know, he could label different jars and stuff. Like it'll be like first interdimensional battle with Merc smiley
and then
face.
and on my side of it, I'll be like, Nat 1 investigation check bottle. we'll have our different versions of it. So, moving from that, Brahmas, do you want me to? I'll go ahead and paint the scene as to what it looks like when you guys exit this place, or Merc, sorry, and then we'll go back inside of the area. When Silverman comes walking up to you, you can see that she has this vial, this glass receptacle full of some of the dust, but nothing else picked up out of that mess. Was there anything particular you were interested in or you were doing as you were following Velendal out of this place and preparing to leave?
No, he eliminated the one thing that he cared about down here.
Okay. So as you get to the end of the road here and you guys are up on, there's this large, almost like ceremoniously raised platform amongst all this ancient ruin and stone. It's just had a hellscape wash over top of it. You know, roll a perception check, Jeremy.
Well,
Okay. Looking up at the sky and it being darkened and full of the embers and the blackness and the coals and the rolling red and black clouds. But looking at these stones and the way they're placed, for the first time, just with a 12, the thought crosses your mind that maybe you're not in another plane of existence at all. Maybe this exists as just another side of the exact same place we walk every day. You know, you think about Darius, and he had made a brief mention and was pulled up out of this negative space. You know Rainlore, the centurion hunter of the dead, the one that helped escort you up to the City of Dreams, the Avian City, and help escort you that way. And you know that he always talks about, you know, the path in and out of the nether realm. You're still there. You're just in a different version of the same place. And it makes you kind of look at these remains and hope, is there anything here familiar to me? And there's not in this particular instance, but the thought has crossed your mind now. Okay? After putting this into some perspective. As you catch up with her, Velendal's turned around and she kind of gives a little bit of a. That one seems very curious. As you were. And she's making comparisons between the two of you. You don't know exactly what she's getting at, but she seems oddly pleased with herself. What are you doing?
All along until the next.
In time that you can measure, Mercandal? I'll stop with the riddles. You've had a victory today and you deserve at least a bit of the truth, at least as much as you can handle. This has been a major blow. It will be a while until I will require you. But even though we've defeated these forces today, every time that I collect a lost soul, I'm not the only option they have. And what I don't collect, other powers are looking into every moment of every mortal day. And she says something that sounds very strange. This is the first time you've heard her talk about dreams. You've heard Ignatius speak about this. You've heard Bastille made some mention about this greater concept of things. And this is the first time you've heard her say something about it, which makes it brings a little bit of reality to it. It gives it a little bit of backbone. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, there may be something to this shit. And she says, wandering and lingering dreams without purpose die off is nothing more but just memories that were useless. They were just dreams. She goes, and then there are the nightmares. As long as people still have those, we'll still have battles to fight.
And Merc will give her just a slightest of smiles. And he'll take a part of his cloak and he'll try to rub some of the scorch marks off the armor.
Okay.
And he looks at his hand. And it looks like he's trying to cast a spell and it just kind of fizzles. Perhaps next time, provide me with a little bit of warning. It's been quite some time since I've been this tired.
In that moment, Danny, describe to me what you're doing to Brahmas so I can get his reactions because Jeremy has to leave here in just about 5 or 6 minutes. So what are you doing? The rain's pouring down. You've heard and you see this bonfire going outside. Darius has stepped into this void and he looks somewhat transparent to you as he is reaching out to the other side. Walking into this red circle, you are like, they need to be here to see this. What is it you're doing?
Knowing that before the radiant energy had brought him forth, he's casting one of the spells that he does radiant damage, but he's also trying to channel that through Brahmas because he's seen him absorb it before. Not so much in now that
Which
he's
spell
more
and what level?
I would probably go because he has the new ability where he's attuned to. He has radiant soul, so anything he does with radiance has got a bonus.
Of your charisma, I think, right?
Yeah, I have to look. Wait. But
And we're not looking about points here. We're just looking at which one and how potent a level. Because warlocks usually cast everything max level regardless.
it's Sacred Flame is the best one he's got for radiant damage.
Okay. Roll a spellcraft check. How will you perform the spell? Just roll 1d20 plus your spellcraft.
Yeah. It's not on the front sheet. Oh boy.
Spellcraft is the one we made up where it's going to be your charisma bonus.
All right, so that would be, and he's proficient in that, so +7. So that will be a 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. Sacred Flame. Okay. As Velendal takes the lance and draws that circular window into just empty space, you smell the ancient dust of the castle that is Brahmas. You can see the tapestries hanging from the many different spiral staircases and rooms and stuff flapping, and wind and a great light emanating from the very top, as we've discussed many different times. It seems to just extend up into brightness inside of here. And as you hear that wafting and stuff like that, you hear something battering against the windows of the one room that you're very familiar with. It almost sounds like heavy rain and a whooshing fire sound that seems to be flooding and breaking the eerie silence of this place. Normally, the only sound that's inside of here are the faint echoes of memories and the flapping of those tapestries and wind every once in a while. All the different flags that hang in this place. But you hear this heavy rainfall as if it's on the outside of a car window or something like that. And you would hear flames raging coming from within. What do you do, Merc?
I'm taking off to go find out what the hell's going on.
As you do, you see Silwyn just now catching up. She's about 15 foot behind you with a vial of some kind of remains of dust. Are you saying anything to her in this moment?
No, I'm just figuring out the fire.
Okay. Silwyn, he didn't even turn around to check on you. He just goes through this portal and opening into the dimension you're familiar with and goes right through hastily. What do you do? I can barely hear you.
Better.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm surprised I came through at all. Anyway, so she jotted down notes real quick, and as she's turning around to be like, and she looks and just sees him taking off, and she's like, oh, okay, okay, and then like quickly puts away her journal and takes off after him.
That's funny. Okay. As you go in, Jeremy, are you making your way towards your central room? Okay. For expedience, let's just say that you see rain pouring down on the present window. And radiant flame seems to be awash. Almost like if you were in a car and you were going through the automatic washing thing and the water's just kind of hitting. It has that kind of look on that present window. Danny, are you saying anything at the moment while you're doing this?
Eric, I hope this gets you. This is all I've got.
Okay. With a 20, you hear that faintly whipping around the floors. And in between those three windows, you hear this voice. It's Bastille saying what you've heard in echoed parts. It's almost hard to make it all out in one piece and sentence, but as it comes together, certain words seem to stick out more. It's like, gets you. Help. It's like, get you. We're going to need your help. You know, it kind of echoes as it goes through. And you pick up these particular words. You recognize it as Bass' voice. What are you doing?
Well, first thing, does it look like the fire is damaging anything?
Nope.
Cool. So he's going to go to the central between the windows. And the first thing Bass is going to see is he's going to see Brahmas lean forward. Enough of that, please.
Okay. So, has someone ever been in here when you operate Brahmas?
Never been in this room, I don't think. She's been elsewhere.
Describe to her the Pacific Rim-ish version of this that we've described. I want to hear your description of this to her, what she sees Merc doing when he's conducting his business.
So my thoughts of it have been basically like this central room that he stands on, and in front of him he's got 3 windows, and it is almost like what's that movie? Real Steel, where movements that he makes, Brahmas makes. It's like when that rune is lit up is when Brahmas connects to him and he's able to control it as he does. And that's from your end, that's what you see is Merc standing in that rune, and you see him lean forward like he's looking down at somebody.
Also, I do want to throw in for flavor, you would see illusionary spectral versions of different books open up and circling around him in different places where you could just reach over and touch different ones and pages would move around. You would see a great sword hovering in the air beside him with a certain illumination to it. You would see all kinds of different devices and things that float around him, almost like it's almost wizardry looking. And when he interacts and moves with things, there is a flashing image of the exoskeleton of Brahmas that flashes around him, almost like a force field being hit by something. And you get a shock of what it would look like, just the outside edges of it where the light would hit. You understand what I'm saying? It has that kind of neat effect. And that's what's going on in this moment. You would hear the light rain from inside this room now, as if it's pattering on the windows, on the heavy stone from outside. Are you hanging around for the ride, or are you trying to get out of here?
She just wrote down in her journal, floating books and devices. Is Merc a wizard? Question mark. And then like just jots down, I think maybe like a few sketches. And then she's like, I'm going to go put this away and I'm going to see what's going on. Good?
Okay. So, Dana, you have Merc's attention. What are you saying to him?
You need to see this. Or actually, he doesn't know what's going on. Sorry. He's
No.
like, something's coming. It's in the distance, and all the animals seem upset. Figured we could use some muscle.
Is there?
Well, all Bass knew is that he heard those horns and stuff, and everything ran off. He hasn't seen
okay.
the fire yet because he was
Okay.
over the side.
Fair point. Okay.
Has anybody looked ahead? Find out how long we have.
No
Roll
idea. I
perception
came
check.
to get you. Oh, okay.
Merc, both of you. Tell me what you get.
26.
26?
Yeah, I've got a 10 to
Cheeky
perception.
bastard. I like it. What'd you get, Merc?
Expertise.
Right?
Well,
12? You don't pick up on anything particularly, but you would see Isadora, Celine's bird, flap off in the distance and going to scout. I remember that from the last episode. And you would hear a bit of chanting and things start around the corner in the distance as they are beginning this ceremony that you would hear the parts of, but you haven't walked around to see it yet.
what is that?
So what is basket with a 26?
Well, you saw what I was talking about. You saw the bird, Isadora, take off into distance and call out, and you heard the words on the wind, and you hear some kind of seance or some kind of tribal ceremony taking place around the front of this building that you do not have visual connection with yet. There's
Just
something.
knowing what little bit that Bass knows about them, and then what he knows about religion and magic in general. He's probably assuming they're casting a ritual for what's coming.
Absolutely, yes.
So celestial daggers come out, and he motions for Brahmas to come on, and he starts around the corner.
Okay. Ramos, you following?
Oh yeah.
Okay, as you get around the corner and all gung ho and whatnot, Kiltusk, you would lay eyes on them first as you are kind of watching the perimeter. They come around there like shit's getting ready to break down, but you see the ceremony going on in place. Do you remember the description from last week? Okay, so now this gets tricky. Okay, so on our side of things, we would see Karsu on the far side of this circle, this radiant, this red pulsating kind of runic circle on the ground. It has moons and stars and different kind of shapes like that in it. It's pulsating as if it is, and the vapors around it are as almost as if it's a fire, but there's no physical fire. Oh no, on this side it does look like a large ceremonial campfire. We discussed that. The stones don't seem to be completely real and of this world, and the fire seems to be phantasmal. You would see Karsu on the other side, the young scion, speaking and you would hear a deeper, gruff, foreign-tongued voice coming from her as if she were enchanted or there was some other soul speaking through her. Then you would see on the other side of this spectral fireplace, campfire, you would see Broxel having a conversation, and you would also see Darius stepping up to be a part of said conversation abruptly. And you used the spell where you were able to speak and communicate in their language, correct, Corey?
Yep.
Okay. At that moment, Rursi, the cleric, the one that was severely hurt earlier that rode the axe beak, comes out and holds Darius's hand. They share words, and when he walks into and close to the outer edge of this campfire, he seems to fade in and out of reality as well, as he is on the other side, seeing what they're seeing from the other side. I'll give you two a moment to react with anyone. You see Celine standing over there beside Rursi, and they seem to be calm about this whole situation. You would see Kiltusk standing to the left, closer between you and Broxel. You would see Kiltusk. I'll give you a moment here, Colby, to say what you're doing as this is going on. And I think that pretty much covers this. So, Kiltusk, we'll go ahead and go to you. You're the closest thing between them and this happening. What is it you're doing in this moment right after Mercy? You out of here, Jeremy?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you, sir. We'll see you next time. Okay. So, what is it you're doing, Colby, now that they are... Mercy is pretty much letting Darius into this. Are you having some kind of reactions or something you wish to say to anybody? Shakoma is standing back underneath the awning. Not the awning, but the roof of this long porch that wraps around the lodge. And she's kind of looking from the distance with hesitation. You know, about her thoughts concerning all this. What are you doing, Kiltusk?
I guess he would be like standing guard, more like protection from the outside, just in case like any unknown creature comes and like tries to stop it or like interferes.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me, please. What'd you get?
Having bonuses now.
Okay.
Natural 19. $26.
Good job. You are hyper aware in this moment, which you're used to being because of the class that you are. Nothing seems to be threatening the area at this moment. Things seem to be oddly still. Okay? If something changes in the next couple rounds, I'll tell you it's such a good roll. But for now, there is nothing that would raise alarm. Okay?
Okay.
With that, um, Danny, your reaction to seeing all this. What are you saying to Kiltus, to possibly Brahmas? What are you doing? How are you feeling? Talk to me.
He's going to look around real quick to see if he can see Valdera first of all.
Okay. Valdera is on the steps coming down from the porch, standing up in that way, kind of standing in between and giving looks to Shakoma, as if to say, "You need to come. This involves you, whether you won't like to be a part of it or not." She's kind of trying to sway her to come down to be a part of this conversation.
So she seems like she's occupied but comfortable. Is that what I'm getting out of it?
Yeah. You hear the specific words, "That's your place to be having that conversation, not ours." And she's trying to
With
build
that,
Shakoma up.
with that, he dismisses his daggers and kind of puts his hand back on Brahmas, like it's because he doesn't know if Brahmas can hear as far as he can. So
Right. I get you.
he just kind of puts his hand back and observes now, and he might slowly start to walk over toward Valdera.
Okay. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the actual scene with you on the other side, Corey. Okay? Just a moment, sir. Okay, let's go ahead and change this around a little bit. All right. So, if I can get this straightened out, there we go. Oh, the wonders of editing. All right. So, we're back in this moment. Okay? In the distance, you're seeing this shaman version of the Ozaman with its glowing eyes, and it is the one speaking through Karsu on our side. The flaming symbol on this side, which replaces the fire pit that we're seeing on our side of things. Darius, you are over here to the side, standing. Actually, you stepped up in front of Broxel in that moment, and were declaring what you declared at the end of the last episode. You would see Kiltusk faintly in the background. You would see Celine faintly in the background as well. And just because I put this in here earlier, I want to go ahead and say that this represents Rursi, which helped you come into this place. She would be standing back here. Okay? In this moment, kind of just recap real quick what you have said so far.
Don't be dumb. The gist of what was said at this point was that there's no point in these tests. We're all working together to stop the inevitable defeat of the entire world if the Tarask gets loose. The Tarask will get loose if you do not assist us with retrieving the armor,
the weapon, the Vulcan.
the Vulcan, and we don't plan to do anything that's going to cause any bigger wars except to remove the
Quetzalcoat.
The Quetzalcoat. Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Okay, that works. Do me a favor. I want you to roll me a persuasion check. with disadvantage.
Persuasion. That would be an 18.
Okay. Interesting. The Ozaman from across the way has that large staff that he holds in two of those arms on one side, as the other one in the middle seems to be continuously doing some kind of movement to keep this alive and awake. And the fourth top arm is the expressive one that reaches out with the thick, blackened, muscular hands and the tuft of white hair, has rings and different bracelets that are enchanted that wrap around, parting the fur as it jets out between them as he reaches that strong hand out to you. And he's looking at Baraxel, which is just to your side. He's looking just a little bit past you. And he says, "Do the words of this outsider echo your own? You are strangely quiet, Baraxel." Okay. In that moment, you can hear bones crack, and you can hear the deep breath come out of Baraxel as he stands up from behind you. You hear it at your knees, at your chest, and now you know he's at least a foot taller than you are, as he's standing over top of you just to your left, behind you, in silence, and you can hear the heavy breath coming in and out of his lungs. You feel a large hand go on your left shoulder. It's nudging you to step to the side. What do you do?
Step to the side.
Okay. As you do, just a moment here. As you do step to the side, Baraxel steps up. Let me see wherever I've got him at here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. He would step forward and say in his low tone, he says, I have no qualms in proving myself to you. He says, but understand that this test you ask me to partake in is not a one-sided venture. For it is I that will be testing you, to see if you are worthy of us to put our faith in. And he stands back. He takes the bone claws and he starts taking them off. He starts shucking them down on the ground. He takes the leopard head and he pulls it back off of him, or the jaguar-like head, and he takes it off and he throws it over to the side. And he's standing there with that shaved head and those really bad burn marks like we discussed at the end of the last episode. Looks like he's been tore up with some kind of really bad fire or acid at some point. You're not quite sure, but it looks wicked. It goes down one side of his head. Doesn't really get into his face too much, and he's got dark makeup with red stripes and blue up here that covers his face, goes down the sides. It's running just a bit from the heavy rain, but it's caked on heavily and it stays. His eyes look extraordinarily white as they pierce out from the darkness of the paint around them. As he stands back and he starts saying something under his breath, some kind of chant and some kind of rune. As he does this, you would hear the words of Rursi, the cleric, speak out, and she would say, She go, they've heard your voice. Who will join him? Who will join him? And in the distance, Kiltusk, you hear this. Rursi is speaking into this fire pit. You see that Braxel has stood up, and he has made it very clear that it's not just them testing to see if we're worthy. It's us making sure they're worthy of the job we're asking them to do. This is a two-sided affair now. What are you doing in this moment? And Rursi is asking of the Atlati warriors and the people that are there, who will join him? Don't everyone jump at once. And that's not the only option here. Be creative. Explore the space, guys. But that's just what happens.
I think Kiltusk would be willing to aid in this task if needed.
Okay. So what are you doing? Are you sitting there just pondering it? Do you move? Do you have an action? Do you say something to Rursi? Do you look back to Shakoma for guidance? Do you walk up and talk to Baraxel about this and try to join them in the void? Or do you seek some other way of doing this? Maybe you want to confide in Brahmas. Bastille and him just now seem to be coming up, and you've seen Bastille kind of relinquish these daggers. He was coming out to scrap. So, if you want me to pass over you, I can, but I don't want to leave you out of this because this is an exciting moment and stuff. So, do you want to take advantage or do you want to chill out?
I think Kiltusk will make his way to join the void, to join into the void. But as he walks up to prepare going in, he looks at Shakoma with kind of a you need to be down here now kind
there
of
we go. Nice. Go ahead, just for this here. I want you to roll a shade check. I want to see how you throw shade. Roll a what do you want to do here? You want to do a persuasion?
Yeah.
And what do you tell me how you're symbolizing this? How you're saying things without saying anything? Tell me how you're swelling up and what your body language is as you go in and seize this moment, Kiltusk. What kind of shade are you throwing at? Roll me the dice and tell me what and describe it.
That would be a 16.
Okay. And I'll roll for her and see how effective this is. Whatever you're going to this amazing shit you're getting ready to throw on me, man. What do you got? No pressure. I love saying that.
How well can she see me from?
You know what? I'm going to say three words. From there, from the porch, she's looking on. She sees you start to walk up. Pretty fucking good.
Okay. Then as he would walk up, he would kind of do over the shoulder look with a determined yet unsure facial expression.
Okay.
He would be what he would be trying to send out with that facial expression was you need to be here either for guidance or for physical aid. You just need to be down here.
Okay. With bonuses and everything, she got a 14. What is it you got again?
16 with bonuses.
It is close. But as you do that, Valdera, you can see the warrior woman from our side of things. Our version of Shakoma in a way. There seems to be no clear leader of these people, to be honest. Which is strange for you, Kiltusk. Normally, there would be. Valdera is the closest version to one that you've seen there in the group. She is in between the gaze of you two and sees the body language of Valdera. Would look at the large spear and the what's the name of the word? The rings that she has, the chakrams, and she would just give her a knowing nod. Valdera is going to do. Oh, I forgot. This would be nice if she could do this. I have a move that I can do, and I think this is Warcry. And I'm going to do that and bestow that upon Shakoma. Battle Cry. Hero going to bestow heroism on the nearest ally by shooting powerful verses that may inspire bravery and latent might. You got temporary hit points, temporary magic points, advantage on death saving throws. And all allies within effect automatically gain free action. Nice. I'm going to do that. And when I do that, I'm going to throw out inspiring words and things to her with a awesome roll. And she is going to have the effects of my battle cry onto her for the next 6 turns. All right. With that, that's just enough to push her to the edge. She walks down to Rursi, which you realize is the passageway to get you and her into this. Rursi seems to be the one that can passage people over in this way. So when you two would go up to the cleric, she would reach out her hands and she would look at Shakoma and she would give her a knowing nod, hearing Valdera's words of inspiration and shit like that. Valdera's got her sword out. She's hyping her the fuck up, right? Let's go ahead and fix this graphically. We're going to say that Kill Tusk is into the void now, completely realized, and then we're going to bring Shakoma into this as well. Let's move Shakoma over here beside you, just below, and Kill Tusk, I'm going to bring you out just beside Baroxel. Okay? That's the scene. Now, what's everybody else doing? Let's talk about Silouan real quick, for instance. You are inside of Brahmas. And you can see Merc having this conversation. You can see Bastiel's face through this window. As if it's his seeing eye, okay? You're hearing this conversation. So, what is it you're doing? Are you walking up and kind of looking over the shoulder of Merc as he navigates Brahmas through this thing? Are you saying anything particularly? Or were you going back to your room to do something else inside of him while this is going on? What is Silouan doing in this moment?
So she sprinted as quickly as she could to her room to put the vial away.
Okay.
That way it's like stowed away, nothing like that's taken care of. But she does recognize that she can't leave, not only because she needs Merc's help with that, but also she knows kind of the light thing that happens, and she's like, this is not the spot to do that. So I think she makes her way to the control room. Is she allowed to enter the control room?
Yeah, you were standing in there with him.
Okay.
I mean, you never went right up to him and be like, hey, babe, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've never done some shit like that, but you're able to go into the control room. Sure. Yeah.
So I think that she doesn't know how all of this works.
Right.
So she's just gonna sit kind of in the edge of the room watching everything that's going on. Not really interjecting much yet. If something really kind of sparks her, I think she'll talk to Merc, but for the time being, she's watching, sitting back, and just trying to pay attention and jotting down any notes in her field journal.
Awesome. Okay. In that moment, Brahmas is going to go up along the side of Valdera. And he is going to listen to her words. and her inspiration, the talk that she's giving Shakoma, he would say, and you would hear this, Bastille, you would hear this, Merc would say, do you think she possesses the strength to lead these people? I have no problem or any issue with trying to help this along. But if we intervene in this way, we're going to meet and we're going to have to make sure that we leave them in a better place than we found them. That's Merc's take on it. And you hear these words, Silouan. As Merc says that, Valdera says, came here to kill a bird, didn't we? If that doesn't leave him better, I don't know what the fuck would.
Bast looks up at him and says, there's another seraphim here, and it's inhabited with the one it was meant to hold.
Merc's rolling an insight check. That's a natural 1. You telling the truth? He don't know for sure. How are you selling this? I mean, he's taking you for earnest here. I mean, shit, a 1. You're saying there's another. He says, how long was it that we were gone? And he corrects himself from I to we. And you get the idea something's going on there. Okay? And he said, just exactly how long were we gone?
5-6 hours.
He says, are you saying there's a... And he turns his head and he looks around, he looks over to Valdera, and Valdera's just giving him this look. And he says, there's another of these working? Yeah.
With an angel in it.
So when you're hearing these words come through that Bastille's saying to him, and you can visibly see confusion and just awe on the part of Merc, even though you're looking at his back and you're writing these things in. What is it you were going to say in that moment?
Not what I was going to say, but can she recall any information, being that this is coming from her neck of the woods to a degree?
You know what? That's true, because that's Ignatius, and you tell you what you do. Roll a history check of disadvantage, as we typically had you doing before. Let me know what you get in total.
14. 5.
So 14.
And then it's intelligence, right? So that's...
History's wisdom. History's wisdom.
Wisdom. Oh, so that's like a 6.
So you said 14, but then you're saying 6?
Disadvantage. The first one was 14, then it's 6.
Okay. Well, you know what? 14 and 6. I kind of want to stick in my... Hell... Because you remember Ignatius very well. I'm going to stick with the original 14 because it gives you some insight, but not a shitload. Just for theatrics, I think it's the right call here, because we've already established that you remember your past of Ignatius. It's far back enough where that's kind of concreted in you, okay? So with a 14, not a 15, which would have been great shit. You know what Brahmas is.
Mm-hmm.
You know the function, you've been in here, you've seen it happen. For them to be saying that there is another seraphim here somewhere, for Bass to be able to say this, and you know the only way that it was possible that seraphim was found, that Brahmas was found, is because they found the remains of an ancient flying angelic citadel up in one of those 3 tiers of the Avian City of Dreams. And they are excavating the oldest ruins in Ulran. This is where shit came from. This is the god stuff. For there to be another one here with an angel in it, that is legendary shit. This is like the kind of stuff that you would drool over. From being that little girl and listening to Ignatius' stories and having him unfold, you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now, Silwyn, over this information. Do with that what you will. What I know and have told you is what you know now. Okay?
The last thing Bass says to him is, and she's conscious, from what I gather. Which would be huge for him because we know what
I
happened.
know. Hey, you ain't got to tell me. I know. When you say that, we're going to get to you here in just a second, Darius. Where?
That's what this rescue is. In that buried, sunken citadel that controls the water flow. Underneath that water somewhere is her.
He's thinking, and you can sense that Brahmas is calculating something. Merc is calculating something. In that moment, Darius, what is your reaction when you can hear these inspiring words from Valdera being said to Shakoma about leadership, about what she needs to step up and do for these people so that they're willing and they move forward and survive. Because they have been here since the beginning and they will see it to the end. You see a brave, swollen-chested, covered in paint runes where he was painting himself in the fire pit, step through with the hand of Versi just as you did, and you see Shakoma step through as well. Now it is the four of you that are in this area. What is it that you are doing in this moment? And if it's just thinking, that's a valid answer. You know what I mean? Because sometimes inaction is the action.
It's
interesting.
I imagine that, I guess the question would be, do I get the read on, like, so Braxel stepped up, Braxel's saying, like, yeah, we're gonna do your test. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, he's not saying, yo, we don't have time for this. He's saying, we're gonna do your test.
Kind of, yeah. I'd say that is kind of the vibe you're getting, for the simple reason that, he's saying that you may think you're testing us, but you don't understand. We're also testing you. This isn't just a one-sided situation here. So yeah, I think with what you've collected from that, with him having you, and he wasn't like, get the fuck over. He was putting a heavy hand on you and pushing that direction, right? He is saying to these people, oh, we'll show you, but you show us. Yeah, that's fair.
Do we have any notion of a time frame? Like, we know that the ones who want to raise the Trask, they want to raise the Trask to fight off the coexacodal, whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. It's Quetzalcoatl is what we've decided to call it. I know. I don't blame you, freaking Aztec.
But do we even know, like, I don't know, like a time frame? Because thinking about it, right? Like, just out of character thinking about it.
Say it out loud. Say it. I mean, you right now, you don't know of a time frame because they've mentioned pieces of their rituals and sacrifices being done now. You know that this Terraskia, this whatever their version of the word that they use, is based solely to that volcano. And there hasn't been any kind of eruption yet. There's heavy storms all over the place. So, from the best of your calculation in that moment, I would say that you would, surface thought, this isn't something that's happening tomorrow, but it's something that's growing.
Okay, that's fine. So I would, standing next to Braxel, and him being very clear that he's like, well, we're going to do this. I want to kind of say it enough where he can hear it, but like not like trying to projected across the area. I kind of put my hand on his shoulder and just kind of pull him towards me a little bit.
Okay.
We have no notion of timing. We don't know when these Vokilikon. Wait, no, not Vokilikon.
It's okay.
The V
And
word.
that Vokilikon is the T-Rex of this area.
Yeah, Volaton.
Yes, the Volaton. That's what you would call it. Yes.
I remember stuff. I don't write shit down.
Corey,
folks.
it's tough. I get it. Trust me. It's not bad, bud.
We have no idea when the Volaton are going to finish the ritual, but what we do know is they must have the stuff they need. And I'll kind of pull out those things I took off the one guy. So the stuff they were using to ritual bring on the Vokilikon. You know, talking about those three things.
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think of the Ozaman's reaction to that.
Well, like I said, I'm behind Baraxel with this particular one first.
Right. Okay.
Because
So,
I'm doing this to Baraxel specifically first, and I kind of like pull him out, and I'm like, I took these off the one we slain, and I don't know how, but I know they have something. I have a feeling deep in my gut that we don't have a lot of time. So while I understand little of your culture, I could tell that it's important for you and your Atlati brethren to do this test. Whatever it is, we must make haste.
Okay.
Otherwise, we chance it being all for naught.
roll a persuasion check or a performance, whichever one you want.
And they're both the same.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a bard.
I mean, right.
That's
You even
18.
know bards. You even know bards.
Even no. It's 18.
Okay. I've got 2 daughters, and they trust me. I hear that shit a lot. Do you even know Nirvana? You don't even know Nirvana. So, I know, right? Trust me, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah. So, Pink
No, I don't
Floyd
know.
shirts and Nirvana shirts. I just shake my head. I'm like, you don't even know Pink Floyd. So, moving forward here with the game, because we're in a moment here where bands don't exist. When you say that to him, he looks over to you as if he's getting ready to answer, and you hear a proud female Atlati voice speak up, and it's Shakoma. Inspired by the words of Valdera and the look that Kiltusk has asked, she has decided to step up in this moment. And she says, we've wasted enough time, this time you speak of, and question how much of it we have. She looks across there and she looks at this Ozaman shaman. She goes, for both of our people, time is short. Raise your arms. She looks at Braxel and gives him a knowing nod. She goes, we will remind you that even though we are small in numbers, we are still mighty, and the lands of Tenosia belong to us, the Atlati. With that, she pulls out her shield, and she braces it along her side, and she steps forward to the edge of the circle. Kiltusk, what are you doing?
He would be walking to the edge of the circle as well.
Okay. Now, Darius, you have a whole bunch of different plays here. This can be very, very interesting. You can either get involved in this, you could be support, you could do get the hell out of here altogether, you could sit back and watch. There's all kinds of ways about this. You are seeing these three at Laddie starting to take a stand up. Now,
Wait, you don't even have to go into it. Are you saying that it's pretty obvious that the test is the test of strength between Monkey Men and the Atlati?
it's
it look like it's
leaning
about to be
that
a
way,
fight?
but you're not quite certain. It's leaning that way, but maybe this will help. Okay, maybe this will help. So as this happens, okay, and this moment of tension is brought on by the words of Shakoma, okay, something changes and happens over here. Okay, you could see the gorilla-like humanoid, the Ozaman, the shaman, stands up. You hear bones crack against the heavy rain and stuff like that, and you hear him, bah! Yes, sir. Nods his head and left, looks over. Yes, ma'am. His eyes glow, and he comes over, and he kind of curls his lip over top of a large tusk that he's been hiding underneath of his lip for quite a while. Yes.
I mean, what did he say? Because I heard him.
Okay.
Because I still have my
No.
spell on.
He says, and so it begins. And now he's shouting out the names of some of these other ones to the left and right of him. So I will attempt to pronounce these names the best I can. His names are... That's right. I went as far as to create these fuckers' names. And it was not easy. Okay. So, the shaman has not revealed his name yet, but he has talked to the soldier, Thagun, Thagam, and then the other shoulder he said Thohag, Thohag. So their names are similar, and when you look at them, they seem to be similar, as if maybe they are twins or brothers to some degree. Okay? And when he calls their names, they step forward into the circle, and he would step backwards, and then but there's more. But wait, there's more. Okay? So, as the shaman steps backwards from the mist and things in the background, some other things seem to come into view. A third Ozaman climbs up over the wall and jumps down a vine and comes running up quickly and abruptly, beating his chest with all four arms heavily. And then from the distance, another creature seems to come up on this. This one, however, is something that you, Killed Tusk, or none of you have actually even seen before. Killed Tusk, you can ask questions as they come. This Ozaman that comes up and stands beside the shaman and gives it a nod of knowing before it jumps up in here, seems as if it has undergone some kind of mutation to some degree. It is more of a reddish color with black streaks through its heavy fur. It has demonic-like horns that seem to have sprouted from the sides of its head. Its fangs are larger and wider, and it seems to be a little bit broader than the other creatures. And it comes into the back, and it lets out this like coughing, this like feral kind of thing as it reaches back, and its arms crack from the muscles in its shoulders. It looks intense. With that, Kiltusk, I want you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Of course.
While he's doing that, can you?
Or you're doing the same thing. I want a wisdom saving throw out of you.
Your PM.
Yes. Is this on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where you want them, really, right?
Yes, sir. Do I? Oh, by the way, when he shouted just now, those were not legible words, Corey. That was just anger.
Oh, okay.
That would be a very, very weak 6.
A 6.
Ooh. 18.
Okay. So, with a 6, Kiltusk, you are borderline feared.
Never. Wait, I looked at the wrong number.
Okay, well, that's a good thing for you. So, what's the deal?
Now it's 11.
11. I'm going to be honest, still not great.
No,
Still not
but
great.
better. But it's better.
Okay, you may have a chance here. That's funny. That's funny. For some reason, my messages aren't loading, Corey. I'm hitting Messenger on Facebook. I see there's 6 now. Here we go. Got it. Okay. I'm seeing it. It's opening up. Oh, you piece of shit. My computer's running slow because it's doing sound effects, all this other shit. Here we go.
I can just tell you. It's
No,
not
I
a
see it.
secret.
I see it. I see it.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Tell me when you do this.
I mean, literally, as soon as it seems like that,
Your trigger is what?
my trigger is like you know how
I know how.
when two gangs are about to go head to head,
Yeah.
and I imagine these monkey guys at some point are gonna do like this like show of strength, like and it's like boom.
Okay. I've watched Gangs of New York. I know what this shit is.
Yeah.
We're all right. I'm with you. Okay. So, in that moment, when that one roars out of there, you are able to fight back the fear that this thing emanated when it roared. But upon studying things, you can see that it affected Kiltusk. He's a little bit backwards about going into this now from this ferociousness. Shikoma did succeed because of the battle cry that Valdera has put on her. And Baraxel, I'll tell you in a minute. He did succeed with a natural 17 on the dice. So, in that moment,
The other one fails. Got it.
you hear drums start to emanate from the woodline as if there could be dozens more of these Ozomen back behind these ruins, somewhere just not yet revealing themselves. It seems to be reverberating off the sides of this large stone block walls. Okay? As in this moment, here's the question. Do you guys want to do this now or do it next time? Because it's 10:30. It's late.
I'm going to vote later because my mom might get mad.
Okay. But I know how it's starting because Corey's already told me. It's all good. So let's go ahead and define the scene, and then we'll go ahead and end for tonight, okay? We're getting ready to roll some initiative, and I'll have the initiative sheets, hopefully, some ink, and I can print them out next time we game, right? So we've got this, what seems like a corrupted Ozomen of some kind back here beside the shaman. We've got these 3, what look like they're foot soldiers. They're warriors. 4 arms, 7.5 to 8 foot and a few inches tall. These things are large, man. These are large creatures. And primitive, with trinkets that they seem like they've collected from somewhere. Like the refineries and the things that they have on are things that they've kept as trinkets from things that they've defeated. Right? They wouldn't, on their own, be able to craft things like this, especially the soldiers. The shaman seems to be wiser. You've got the scene over here. Darius is back here talking to these two, trying to see what the play is. Shikoma has stepped up. She's got battle cry. Got her full on herself, man. Kiltusk, naturally just a little bit stepped back behind the others because fear's got him. Does anyone have any questions about the setup here before we go ahead and end for tonight? Yes. Bella, what's up?
Wida, Brahmas, and I don't see this one because it's happening in the psychic thing, right?
Right, you're just seeing like phantasmal shapes taking place, and you can hear distant whispered words as you have not walked up to the circle in the area.
So I don't add Demon Gorilla to her notes yet.
No, you do not.
Got it. That's
You,
yeah,
but
that
you,
was the main
but
thing.
y'all, but that's a good point. But you all would have heard a roar break through to the other side, Jim Morrison. Sorry, I had to quote the Doors, and it's breaking through. Oh yeah, so and that would have got y'all's attention, especially you, Bast. That would have got your attention when this primal roar come out of the other side. Yeah, what's up, Corey?
You sure you don't want to leave the group off with the surprise round? With what happens during the surprise round? Leave them with that cliffhanger?
You know, I think so. No, you know what? That's fair. And I think you've earned it. You've been very patient tonight. Let's go ahead.
It's fine either way.
No,
the
no,
difference
no.
is going to be how they think of what's going to happen next.
I'm liking this.
It's got to be real.
Oh, it's going to be no. It's a little different than that. Corey, as soon as that thing roars and you're able to fight back the fear from it, tell us what we're seeing.
All right, so I see obviously like Valdera and Baraxo and all of them. They seem like they're getting into kind of a position of defense of head-to-head combat, and this thing roars, and I see like Kiltusk begin to like kind of cower, and I'm just like this wave of like in Darius's head is just like, we are taking way too much time, and he just like it comes back to him like there because this is part of his bardic college, where it comes back to him where in training he was taught to strike like the wind, and you just watch as he just like almost flash style like disappears and reappears in front of each one of these creatures. And would I get advantage on those attacks since it's a surprise round?
So let's do this. Does it say that the spell itself typically gives you advantage on your attacks?
So it just says that you make a melee spell attack against each target.
Yeah. I'm going to say
Oh, I need
not,
that spell.
because they're staring right at you and they're getting ready to do combat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to give you advantage on them, no. Because they are
All right,
facing
so-
you and they have seen you.
So it says I choose 5. I'm choosing every one of them, including the shaman.
Okay.
All right. So I'd say
What's the area of effect of this? Everyone within how far?
hold on. Actually it's 30 foot.
Okay, so this is
30
10.
Foot,
This is 10.
20.
This is 10. So you got these 3.
Okay. All right. Well, that works too then. So I would then only target dirty to range, those 3. And so I get all right. So basically I'll make 3 different attack rolls.
It looked like this. There he goes. Yeah, he's got it.
Well, I just imagine like he runs to the one to the left and like tries to attack at it, and it would be so it's a melee spell attack. So that's just my +8.
Yeah, 1d20 plus 8.
Oh god, that's actually kind of shitty for on a hit. I guess it's a give and take. All right, so the first one would have been +8, 16, 24 to hit.
24 hits and breaches the creature.
All right. The second one will not hit. That'd be a 12.
Second one does not hit.
And the third one would be a 17 plus 8.
25?
25. Yeah.
That hits and breaches.
Okay. So basically,
You got 5
Sure.
attacks, right? Or are you just doing one on each one of these?
that's where I was kind of confused. It says choose up to 5 creatures you can see make a range attack on a hit. They take damage. So I think you can only hit once. I mean, unless I get to choose 2 twice.
I'll give you one more.
All right, yeah, because I was confused on that. That's why.
Go with this one again, and if you're able to hit on it, I'll give you one hit on each one of them.
Oh yeah, that's 23.
Okay. 23 hits and breaches.
Okay, cool.
So, you've got a hit and breach on each one of these, which means it's straight damage, and it surpasses their, the good stuff.
All right, so on a hit, a target takes. This is the crazy part.
I know.
Each hit is a 6d10.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
You want me to run each one separately, or
I
one
want
roll?
you to
gets them all?
you to enjoy this, and I want you to just go with it.
All right. So the first one would be 7, 14, 18, 19, 24 plus 17, 24, 30,
Danny,
43.
this isn't something he does many times a day. If
No.
I think it's maybe once, maybe I'm not even sure. It's a rare
So
thing.
we're gonna have to chat about this because this thing is OP.
Yeah.
But so that's 34 to the first guy.
Okay.
Ooh, 10, 18, 29, 32, 33, 45, 36, 36 on the second.
Okay.
And 17, 20, 35 on the last one.
Okay. So, and is that slashing damage?
So it is going to be force damage.
Force damage. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So as you're going through and you're doing this, you get the feeling that slashing damage would have only done so much to them. They seem to be in some kind of state where it might reduce that to some degree. But
Right.
since you were able to go through and do a force type damage to them and got breaching attacks on them, they take the brunt of this and they are hurt as blood falls and stains the white fur of them after you're done with your movement. Where would you like to be at when this is over with, Darius?
So I have to be within 5 foot of one of them. So I'll be right dead smack in the front and the middle one. And basically, like what would happen is you see this like blur and like this impact hits him and he stops in front of the one and he's just like, let the test begin.
Nicely done, sir. Now, you drew a bunch of blood there, so do your stuff.
Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. All right, so
Is it
Danny's
real?
loving that. Danny's like, oh shit, yeah, there's that.
Is it real blood or is it psychic blood?
No, this would have. You don't know. You're not.
So-
You don't know.
cast.
Psychic
So would
blood.
this be considered casting a spell once or casting it 3 times?
This
'cause
is
it says-
casting- This is casting a
is-
spell once.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because it said
The
Casting
item has
it.
3 charges a day, right?
no. This is a spell.
Okay.
That's why I said we gotta talk about it because it's OP.
Okay.
Although this part is not OP. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I didn't slay anyone.
No, you didn't.
11. All right, so I am up to 11, and so 10 allows me to jump into it. So I imagine like that's him going like, "Let the test begin," and he just starts plumping up.
Yeah. Are you going hybrid?
Yes.
That's awesome. So in that move, he was able to get up enough bloodlust in those quick moves to be able.
And now I get to go back to my Batman voice.
Here we go. Here's the change. Oh yeah, we're there. Let's go ahead and change your direction because you're looking this way.
Find out next time on Tales of Ulran how fucked up I get.
You're right on, because you You just made the King Kongs angry with you, sir.
Yeah, he's done with he's like, fuck these tests, but he
That's fantastic. All right, well, with that, guys, let me go ahead and get the mice lined up here and get ready to take care of this business, but we'll end it for there. Thanks for hanging in. That was fun. Yeah, I'm glad we hung out and let you do that, sir. That was worth checking out. So, with that, once again, and as always, I'm Brian Kynes, thanking you for joining us, and we will see you next Sunday to see how this shit goes, and then possibly start to make preparations for our march on the Water Temple of Iota. So until then, everyone, have a good one.